What the heck is up, amigos? What the fuck? $300 it's gonna be when it hits the stores, they say. But they didn't mention that's the same price as the Switch. Woo! Lordy. So we had Phil Adam come on there. It was on Bro's stream, bro. And didn't go so well. They seem okay with it, but reality don't look so good. So Phil Adam, of course, has taken over for Tommy Tallarico, and he's the new CEO. Tallarico's the new CCO, which I guess is a creative thing he's saying. But if the games are done, why do we need so much work on the creative? Well, 27 games are supposedly done. Let me see. Let me could drop the chat link for you guys if anyone wants to come on. I'm doing this on my phone today, so it's a little, don't know what I'm doing. Here we go. And then I can put this into the chat. Now, how do I get into the chat? Oh, no. Here we go. All right, anybody want to hop on? Come hop on with us. We're celebrating. $300.
Hey there.
All right. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? So let me ask you something. I just saw you were streaming. I caught I caught some of that live stream with Phil Adams, or Phil Adam, I guess the Adam is singular.
Gomez Adams. Yeah, go ahead.
So where's the $300? I did hear him say that the price basically is going up, or at least strongly hint to that. That is a $300 price point just speculation?
I have no idea. I usually ask you guys these things, but I didn't watch the entire thing, and I was skipping through and around and watching part of it and fast forward. But yeah, they just kept saying $300 afterwards. So maybe it was speculation. Maybe they were told things off the phone because they've been told things. It's not like everything they heard was on that podcast. Who knows?
And honestly, if they hear it on their phone, you can't put any stock in that. You really can't, because, and I've said this, here and there, and I honestly do, and he may not believe it. I feel bad for Retro Bro. I do feel like he's being put in a really bad position. He probably would say, I don't care what you feel or whatever, but I do, because I honestly think the position he was put in is awkward. To have Tommy tell him, hey, you got 27 games coming, one night, And I remember that stream. He made the biggest deal about Flying Tigers. And then the developer of Flying Tigers goes on Tony's channel and says, it's still being worked on. It's not finished.
Right.
After he just said it's finished. And today, Phil Adams I did catch the part where he said we have 20 games almost done for the launch.
Not 27.
Not 27 and not done. Almost done. Near completion. And it just takes all the credibility out of your sources when that happens to you. And the sources is Tommy.
There was a sentence, I can't remember which, I think it was Bro. One of them said a sentence along the lines of, they have 50 games they're working on right now. Are all of them in active development? Well, no, but it's like, well, what the fuck does it mean then?
No, they said, yeah. And Phil Adam, he did clear that, some of them are on the back burner, but basically it's like you create songs. You create songs, right?
What'd you say?
You create songs all the time.
Sure.
I'm guessing if you're like me with my videos, like I have all these video ideas lists on my, and I could say I could probably find 50 videos I'm working on that I never finished, ideas I started, thoughts I had, but I can't focus on 50 at once. But they're on my hard drive. They're on a to-do list. And basically when he says we have 50 games in development, he means some of those are just on a to-do list. No one's touching them. No one's doing a thing. So that's a little misleading when you say something like that.
The wording is like, we're working on 50 games. Like, not we have them in development or we have them coming, or like it's like we're working on them. Well, okay, I guess that's what that means. I'm not working on a lot of the songs that I kind of stuck in the back and forgot about, and really not working on any of them right now. But
and Phil Adam even threw out Toe Jam and Earl, which the developer says we stopped working on that in early 2021.
Right. And these guys come back with, oh, well, there's things that you don't even know, Tony. There's things that you guys don't even know about it. It's like, well, then tell us. Like,
yeah, it's the thing I think happens is they just take everything Intellivision says, they take their word on it, and they translate it in, normal human speech. Where when Tommy says Tommy Tellerico says I have 27 games finished, to me, I don't know that I buy that they're finished. I believe what he means is I could release them like this, but they're not really done.
So with Tommy out of the CEO position, and then you got Phil Adam in as the CEO, does that theoretically wipe the slate clean? So we go, you guys said it was gonna cost this much more. Well, no. Tommy Tellerico said that was our previous CEO. Like, how much do they? Go ahead, Phil.
It doesn't. It does if you are so blinded. It's like this.
You're looking for a way out.
If you're looking with rose-tinted glasses, you could say, okay, fresh slate here. But that's dishonest, because this is a company that's been saying stuff for 3 years. It's kind of like when, it's a bad analogy, but it's almost like when your football team gets a new coach and they say, oh, everything's new, except that's not what's going on here. Tommy's still the president. Tommy's still, right up there. They're still making decisions together. He's still the majority shareholder. So Phil
it's just if the fans of the football team come to the game and they're saying, well, your coach said you were going to work on defense. Well, that was our old coach. We're not going to work on defense. It's like, you said it was going to be this way. Well, that was the previous leadership.
What it does tell us is their original plans are not working.
Yeah,
it clearly, because if it was working, there wouldn't be a need for a change.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they try to spin it good, then they try to spin it bad, and they've looked a little defeated. You even have Mike Mullis just saying, "This is reality. This is the reality of it." And it's like, whoa, they're almost coming to grips with it.
And here's just my take, and Intellivision can prove me wrong, but if you do raise the system, you're dead. The price of the system, and maybe that's a reality, is that there's so much they've spent so much developing it that they have no choice. Did I just kill the conversation?
I was gonna say, I forgot what I was gonna say, but oh yeah, $300. I didn't see if anyone said it in the chat, but isn't that what a Switch costs? I mean, that was like the one thing you had over the Switch, and then they started talking about well, they could raise the price of the games. They could raise, like, yeah, that's a Switch now.
Yeah, I mean that's the original model. I don't know if it's the new model, but you know, let's see. I go on
Yeah,
Amazon. I can
the
get a
new
Switch.
model. Yeah,
I can get the standard Switch for $300. Yep,
yeah, and
standard Switch. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not a Nintendo salesman or anything, but when a system has been out for a while, so we're talking the Switch has been out for like what 5 years now. They're widely available used, so it's a big market. I mean, when people talk about Wii's, people bought all these Wii's during the pandemic. They bought a shitload of used stuff. I mean, that people still do that major, and it's going to majorly cut into what you're doing.
Well, what I've wondered myself sometimes is like they talk, and I heard Phil bring up the Wii, like they're trying to be the next successor to the Wii. You know, they're like, we want to capture that magic again. And my brain, this is just the way my brain works. And I'm a family man, and we have to live on a budget, and $300 for us is a lot. You know,
Sure.
for my family, and I think for a lot of other families, it's a lot. Not everybody's that way, but for us, it's a lot. And the way
Yeah.
they were talking about the magic of the Wii. Now, I already have a Wii, but if I didn't, I'd be like, well, why instead of spending at the time $250 for a system, why don't I go buy a Switch or buy a Wii for $150? I can find a good used one with several extra controllers. We can play four-player games. There's tons of
Right.
content available that's cheap and
And
affordable. I mean,
yeah,
why
and
don't I
you
just do
get a
that?
Wii. Yeah. But let's never forget that when we launched on launch day, I believe there was a brand new Zelda game, like a full Zelda game. It was the best version of this brand new Zelda game that, yeah, it was also available on GameCube, but it was the quote unquote best version of it. And that's what people lined up for. They got sick of it and started playing the pack-in game. Their family saw them playing the pack-in game, and it went from there. But if you can't get it out the door with, a carrot on a stick, how are you even going to get it going?
Yeah,
$300.
I made a video where I said, "Hey, if you want to be the next Wii, then act like Nintendo did with the Wii." And with the
Yeah.
Wii, they had something for everybody. They had the big name franchises. They had a
Mm-hmm.
new Zelda in the works. And when you watch their video, if you watch their early trailers, like the first ones, they had pictures of families playing together. They had grandpa in some of them. They had single players playing together or by
Mm-hmm.
themselves. They had the single player. They're like, this is for everybody. It's not just for families with 7-year-olds. So that's I think was a mistake of like focusing such a narrow focus on we want to hit those families with 7-year-old children. uh, I mean, where's the big name titles? You're using the Intellivision name. You're definitely attracting retro gamers. You should do something, and that's where I think they dropped the ball by putting Earthworm Jim on the back burner. And now apparently, I mean, they've been hitting at this, but from what Phil Adams says, a lot of those other games are going to be $15 or $20. So
Yeah, and that's crazy because the Switch eShop. You gotta know the Switch eShop. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it's very similar to PlayStation stuff, but there are regularly like awesome little family games to the caliber of Amico games that are like $4 or less, like all the time. And there's literally an option where when you turn on the eShop, you can go into the search options and you go ahead and you click 8 years and under, and you go ahead and click $10 and under or $20 and under, and you can set it up and you can start looking through them. And there's just, there's a lot going on.
hey, can you highlight the Potion Sword Run comment from 1205 when he said they got a little mad? I'm
Let's
just
see.
a lot of people in the chat I'm seeing.
We got a little mad when I told the reality that the Amico is bigger trouble than we thought. Yeah, Mulus came on, and if anyone else to jump onto my stream, come on and jump on, guys. But did you have something to say about it in SG?
Well, I wanted to say, like, I saw them. Like I said, I caught a little bit of I like went back and I watched some of the Phil Adams stuff because he was only like 30 minutes of it. But I was interested to see what he has to say, and I was like, okay, let's give this guy a chance. I remember the first time I heard Nick Richards, I was like, well, I've listened to so much Tommy Tellerico. This guy's a breath of fresh air. He seems to be a straight shooter. So I was listening to the Phil Adams stuff. I didn't see the whole stream, but I caught the end. And let me just say real quickly, and this is in all sincerity, they were talking about how disrespected they feel with the way critics talk to them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, if you silence every critic, because when Potion Sword Run made this comment, they're like, well, why are you even talking about this? You're not interested. Why are you even talking about this? I mean,
right.
do you not understand that we're gamers? That this
Yeah,
is
I
like
was
the
gonna
most
say.
interesting story that is. And when you try to censor people like that, it makes it sound like you don't have a good reason. So you just
Yeah.
try to shut people up. It looks
And
terrible.
that totally makes sense, and I totally with you there. And on the other side, because people know I'm kind of an immature comedian guy, and there's a lot of us out there and trolls and stuff. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you think that the video game console with the Care Bears game was never going to attract anybody who's immature? Like you didn't think the video game community might have some like immature people in it. I'm sorry. Like this isn't college reading room. You're gonna have it's part of what this is. It always has been. Like, goofy, weird people are attracted to video games. It's just part of what it is.
Yeah, we're fans of gaming. We're fans of Intellivision.
Yeah.
We're interested. It's like
sad.
I'm a fan.
I was just gonna say, go ahead, Phil.
I'm a fan of some football teams. I grew up in Michigan, so I'm a fan of the Detroit Lions and the Michigan Wolverines. And when there's stuff going on in the football world, I'm interested in it. I'd like to talk about it, even if I'm not a season ticket holder. And you know what? I was interested in Tom Brady's retirement, even though I'm not a Buccaneers season ticket holder. Because I'm not a season ticket holder, I can't talk about that. I mean, what craziness is that? That's just censoring. And that I thought this was supposed to be about bringing people together, but the tactics is driving people apart.
Right. And that also comes into like where people want to say, compare them to a cult or religious group, because it's like, well, you don't have the authority to talk about our group because you don't know enough about it. And it's like, well, we're allowed to talk about things. Like, it's a video game system that has games that are on other systems. So yeah, I mean, what's the I was just gonna say, I think it's shitty that if people were, making anti-Semitic comments to Mullis or being dicks in that way, you guys shouldn't be doing shit like that. You calm the fuck down and grow up. But the reality is that's a part of a lot of cultures and gaming and sports and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just something's happening in Anti-Amico. So, I
hope Mike realizes that not everybody who, like myself, who's like a critic of this system and what's going on, they don't hurl anti-Semitic comments.
Right.
They don't hate people just because of their opinion. They're not out calling, but when I hear them talk about it that way, it's like, this looks terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it exists. Yes. I'm not going to say that doesn't exist in our community, but yes, even people like me who cuss people out and act goofy and stuff aren't doing shit like that. So that's not, a product of the anti-Amico or the Amico critics.
Yeah. So I'm just, it was a bizarre night. It was a bizarre night to see this stuff happen. And I will give Rab credit, because when Potion Run Sword was talking about this and Mike was kind of railing, he said, they're interested. There's people out there who, even though they're not financially invested, they're interested in this. They're gamers. And so he made sense for a few seconds, but then that kind of, it went away. So I don't always agree with everything Rab says, but I do appreciate that once in a while he's a voice of reason when sometimes that craziness happens.
I would say Geeks with Cash is usually pretty reasonable too. He called out Mullis today and said, well, no, the PlayStation 5 came out, the Xbox came out, things came out. That's when Mullis jumped on him. I cut it up earlier today, people saw it, but he said, they have so much money to do it. And it was to take it back to Tommy saying, we have $150 million line of credit from one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Like, we're going to knock it out of the park. So.
Yeah. Ninja Kitty's here.
Hey,
yeah,
you guys hear me?
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to join in because that was hard to listen to earlier. But
yeah, wild.
I felt especially when you were talking about the Potion Sword Run comment there, it just seemed like Mike got really angry to a point where we're hurting his safe space. It felt like it was in their safe space, and I didn't think he wrote anything that was too egregious or whatnot. And when No Swear Gamer was using the sports analogy, I always think of the same thing too. Like I love my local sports team, but I criticize them when they're not doing the great job. Like your favorite teams aren't always number one, and you can crap on them, even on other teams too. Because like what you said, you have a general interest in the topic, and it was just,
I don't know. It's just my speculation. It's my notion that I feel like Mullis, however you really say it. I feel like he was probably more mad that he found out it was going to be the same cost as an old Switch at $300. He was probably mad that everything's just kind of falling apart, and maybe he was just taking it out on Potion because you got. That's my.
Well,
it
makes him look kind of foolish over the last year.
Yeah, and it's like, and they're just sitting there going like, "Oh, that wasn't a great talk with Phil, was it?"
Because even when I wrote a comment about the Switch being, almost the same price at 300, or maybe even cheaper, bundled with the game, and of course, then that was like, no, that's not true, but it is true though. So they don't want to hear the truth sometimes.
Yeah, because I think it was Smash JT or somebody who said like, "Oh, the OLD is the new one, and that's $350." No, you could still get a regular Switch.
Smash JT doesn't want you guys to hear the truth because he's an investor big time. So he doesn't want anyone to hear the truth. He doesn't care. He hears it.
Yeah, it's just it's. I hate to go back to this. It gets me in so much trouble, but it's intellectually dishonest. It's when you can't look at stuff critically and be like, you know what, a price change is going to make things more challenging.
And let me preface this real quick because we have some more serious guests than we usually do. But this show is a comedy show and it's a speculation show, and don't hold us to things we're saying or anything like that. This is for fun. But go ahead, Phil.
But because I heard a part of it where they were acting like, well, this is no big deal because I have to take my family out here and it costs this much for entertainment. Right. And they're immediately, I hate to say it, but it sounds like a bunch of spin doctors who they could have doubled the price. The Amico is going to be $500. Well, that's not a big deal. If you go to Disneyland with 4 kids, that's $1,000 right there. And that only lasts a day.
When I go to the arcade. Yeah, that's very creepy. That's the used car salesman going, it's only $1,000 a month. What do you spend on groceries? Like Sinister Moon was saying on the last one, what do you guys spend on groceries? Because if you took away like one item per trip, you could save enough to get an Amico. And it's like one item would be like $15, so it would take you like 2 years. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm not sure if you guys listened to like the later parts where they were justifying impulse purchases of $300-$400. I think it was another Potion Sword run. No, it was Extra Sanderson who brought that up, and they're saying, yeah, it's normal, and I do it all the time. I'm like, well, you guys are not the normal audience that they're targeting. These are non-gamers and grandmas, and those folks don't just look at a video game system that they have no idea what it's about and drop $300-$400. Like that doesn't happen.
And again, I know I admit I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but I skipped some of the systems. But the reality is, if you went through this whole pandemic and you didn't pick up a Switch or a Wii or something like that, what the fuck is going to make you pick one up when they're starting to reopen everything? Like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
And I
don't know some mass buy-in. Like, it's crazy.
And I don't know if they realize it, but not the whole country is California. I know Tommy's based in California, and Smash JT said he's based in California. And I know things, from what I understand, are more expensive in California.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm in California. I'm here.
Okay. So you can tell me if that's correct or not. But my guess is, it is or it isn't. But here's the thing.
When I go buy a video game system, it's not more expensive. I get a video game system for the same price you get a video game system. Yeah, gasoline might cost more, and food might cost a little more. Your houses cost more, but I mean, you're getting your base pay is higher. So yes, you're getting paid more. Your minimum wage is more. Average person gets paid more, and then your house and rent is more. But there are things that are just the same everywhere you go. MSRP doesn't change. So if I want to buy a PlayStation or a PlayStation game, I pay what you guys pay.
Right, but if $300 is not an impulse buy in California, it's not an impulse buy in the breadbasket. It's not an impulse buy in the Midwest.
Well, for a children's toy, like fuck no. Come on,
they did respond in the chat. Do you guys read what Sinister Moon responded to me about that? He said that the folks that do not have video game systems have more money because they don't buy video games. So therefore, they will impulse buy it. That was his response.
They won't get like
they won't get like a $50
they won't get like a $50 Amazon tablet for their kids. They won't get like a fucking Switch for the same price.
Okay, so because I don't have a Ferrari, that means I can buy a Ferrari impulsively because I haven't. Exactly. I mean, sometimes people don't have a video game system because they can't afford one.
Yeah, the housing crisis, like people who weren't buying those houses was because they couldn't afford them, not because they weren't spending their money.
So overall, I saw that, and it's just my opinion, and Intellivision could prove me wrong, but it does signify the end. If they give the founders and maybe it's true, maybe the price of manufacturing the system has gone crazy, because Phil Adams said that basically the controllers, he said, said something along the lines of what was originally reported as the cost of the system is actually the cost of our controllers. Well, what was reported in that Ars Technica column was like $100 cost or something. So if the controllers cost $100 to make, and it does cost, and they're losing money making them here for $250, I don't know how they're going to make a profit. I don't know how they're going to make it, because, and they're spending $500,000 to, I think Rab said $800,000 a month.
Yes. So
how are you going to pay that? You can't cover, and that doesn't count all the money you've borrowed against that you owe.
So we got Ben Silverpong on the show, a man who has actually touched and played the Amico. Ben, are you here?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yep. Ben, how's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. We're live here at Laggy Road Studios. And we're just talking about the thing. People are saying $300. If anyone in the chat knows that if Phil Adam confirmed it was $300 or what's going on, I kind of jumped on.
I think that's speculation. I think it's just speculation.
He was saying we're definitely going to keep the price point for the founders. So the 2,600 people there, and they're saying, well, you're going to take a loss manufacturing it at that $250 for those 2,600 consoles. It's like, but I thought he had $150 million line of credit, like $150 million line of credit. So how are you like losing money when people are paying you and you have a line of credit? I don't. It's just that the manufacturing is so high.
I wonder, you guys ever see that episode of The Simpsons where Homer built a car for his brother?
We've talked. Everyone has talked about that so many times. Yeah, man, it's come up in this conversation so many times.
Well, I missed it, but that's what I think about. I wonder sometimes too if they came in like, oh, let's put touch controls, let's do motion, let's do the capacitive touch screens, let's do this, let's do that, and they put it all together, and it ended up being financially not viable. But they can't go back. Yeah. They can't back out on it.
There's a guitar like that. It's called the Firebird X by Gibson. Yeah, they just kept putting crap on there, and then it just became too expensive. Nobody wanted it, and it had too many things all of a sudden. So the other thing that was kind of funny, there's a couple things that were really funny. One thing, Smash JT was kind of grabbing at straws, going, well, my cousins, they bought the Super Nintendo for $89, and the game Street Fighter 2 was $89 also. And it's like, yeah, well, that was a fucking cutting edge game. That was something everybody wanted.
Hey Ben, what do you think of all this? You came on and I've talked over you.
I'm speechless.
Ben,
I don't know where to start.
You might be the only person we confirmed owns all three books also, but go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with were you guys talking about Retro Bros live stream?
I'm talking about whatever, man. This is just a fun show.
Yeah, but you guys were talking about the price of the system and all that, right? Just now?
Yep. Yeah, they were talking about it might go up when it hits the stores because, you got to pay GameStop, you got to pay Walmart, this and that.
Yeah, but then what I felt was funny, what they were talking about tonight on there, or last night. That was last night, right?
No, it was just now. There was one that just ended with Phil Adam.
Yeah, there was a stream last night and tonight.
There's one that just
Retro Bros stream from last night. They were talking how they won they think that Amico should hold games back, finished games, hold them back and release them monthly.
That sounds like investor speak. I mean, no fan would want that, would they?
But you would
That would
figure
sound
you
weird
want
from
to
a
give,
fan point of view, right?
but you figure you want to give people an opportunity to buy as many games as they want to buy and that's more revenue for them, right?
I mean, it's an online store, so like, what difference does it fucking make?
Exactly.
Like, it's not like, I
didn't think it made any sense.
Yeah, it's not like you're going into Walmart and seeing a different title every week. Even a lot of the distributions for Walmart and shit, people have said they probably won't have store shelves. They'll probably be on their online for Best Buy. And so,
and I'll get your opinion on this, Ben, because you played one. I'm also curious how much substance these games are, because if all these games are made like the Wii games that came out where it's fun for 10 minutes playing with friends, but that's about it. There's a lot of games on the Wii that was like that, the party games. If all of these games are that thin or have that lack of substance, people are going to go through them too quickly, and they're going to be like, okay, now what do I play? I spent an hour playing through Astro Smash. I made it to the end. What do I do now? So I'm wondering how much substance that was a question that came in my mind. So you're developing, you have almost 20, you have 20 to 27 games, either close to finished or whatever. How deep are they? Because what company could do that many games? Because they don't have time to put out the system, but they have all these games already. Are they that deep? Because I know one of the things they're going for is simple, but no one's going to spend $300 for something they're going to play 10 minutes here and there.
We just, for something that's been talked about for a few years now, we still don't know a lot of things about it. Like getting back to what Retro Bro mentioned about Finnegan Fox, how he doesn't think the touch screen, how DJC struggled with it. He doesn't think the touch screen should be the double jump. It should be the button, and the fire should be the screen. And then they don't even know if that's going to be an option to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you can adjust the controls.
At this point, they still don't know if you can configure the controller to how you like it. I don't get it. But yet they're announcing a bunch of games that are finished. And who told Retro Bro that the games were finished?
According to Retro Bro, Tommy told him, according to Retro Bro, Tommy Tellerico on Saturday's stream gave him a list of 27 games that were finished. He said, I have all these
live stream?
Yes. And he said, I'm saving the best for last. And it was Flying Tigers. And he was like, oh, wow, Flying Tigers is done. And then at
this point, we're supposed to believe anything he says?
No, because on Tony's channel, 5 hours after he said that, the developer of Flying Tigers went on Tony's channel and said, yeah, we're still working on it. So they're still getting it done. And then Phil Adam 24 hours later says we have 20 games close to completion. So in 24 hours, they went from 27 games finished to 20 games close to completion. And then
and some of those games were never even, and some of those games were never even mentioned. Some of the games I never heard of.
Yeah, so this whole thing boggles my mind. I mean,
it's very bizarre. It's getting like to the point where I don't even want to really talk about it anymore. Like I almost made another video. I made another video earlier about my about that video, and I just freaking deleted it. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and I just can't believe how much. I can't believe how much has happened in a 24-hour period with this company. Switching the word
in the end, I'm still
switched.
Well, the thing I ask myself the most playing it, that I got to play it, is, how everybody's been saying there's never been hype like this over a system. Well, it's in our community on YouTube. It's not like that off YouTube.
It's not worldwide hype.
Yeah, no. But it's hype with our, with
and it's negative
the
hype.
pro side,
which is bad hype.
About all the sides, and so I just don't know if it even deserves to be getting this much attention. Like, I don't even think it deserves for all this talk. I mean, I just don't get it.
It is.
Well,
it's. Oh, go ahead, man. Go.
I was
Tommy.
just gonna say it's just the interest of like it's a mystery. So that's what a lot of the attention has been. It's the mystery.
Here's the thing. Well, this is the way I look at it now. If this was going to be like the next greatest thing, then I could see it. But for something that's been like almost 3 years old now, and with all we know that was done and all the mistakes that have been made by him, Tommy, and even the YouTube guys, the pro YouTube guys, I don't know, the hate everybody. It's just like this thing got, I mean, I know what caused it all. I mean, when someone shills for something to the max, like they're doing, it's gonna piss off people to hate on it, because it's just like, let this thing come out and then talk about it. You know, like in detail, like they do. You know what I mean? Like,
they did things backwards.
Yeah, what I don't like the most about what I don't like the most I don't like the most about what Retro keeps bringing up, Retro Bro, and they is the founders. I can't stand the fact that it almost sounds to me when they talk about the founders coming out, like Nick asked a question, right? Nick asked, does this thing have to come out in 2022? Does it have to come out in 2022, or is it doomed if it doesn't? And Retro Bro answered that question by saying, I know for a fact, 100% fact, that the founders will see it in 2022. What does that, to me, that tells me that you only care about the founders. You don't care about the public release, the general release. It seems like they're just attached to that founders being released. You know what I mean? Just so they can get it. And I mean, Retro went out of his way to say that he's going to clear up a spot, and as soon as it gets to his doorstep, he's going to hook it up. And it's just like, it's just selfishness. It's like, it sounds to me like they're so in to get it for themselves more than they care about the company making it. Like at one time, Retro Bro said, if we get our founders and it never comes out publicly, at least we have a collector's item. I mean, come on.
Well,
I don't know.
To me, they're always looking on the bright side.
Yeah, but
so so Tony's here. What's up, meatbag?
Tony's in the house.
What's going on? So I've been listening a little. I was listening, and I heard some things. I think I need to clear up some of this misinformation being spread here.
Hater.
So we're gonna rewind just a little bit.
All right, but
we're gonna go back in time.
You heard me already clarify that everything that happens on the show is a joke, but go ahead.
Right. But see, here's the thing. Okay, you guys are talking about Mike Mullis. You're saying Mike was complaining about anti-Amico people being mean, being all up in his grill, saying
no respect,
anti-Semitic things. And while I don't approve of any of that, I disavow all personal attacks. We have to, address the elephant in the room, because someone on this panel had their personal information spread all over the internet by a person who was, in fact, a mod on the stream in which Mike Mullis was complaining about us anti-Amico people being harassers. I mean, this particular gentleman made a panelist cry because he was harassing her so much, and yet somehow we are the bad guys.
They want their
gentlemen have thoughts on that.
Yeah, man, they want their Amico, whatever they got to do. I mean, it's I guess everything's fair in the Amico wars on both sides at this point, but we should try to be better, right?
We should, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because Retro Bro, he's constantly bringing up, hey, this guy said this to me. He's like,
oh yeah, that's all they got. I mean, that's all they fucking got. I mean, that's all they fucking got. They got the new they got Tommy fucking stepping down as CEO, Phil Adams stepping up and saying, yeah, it might be $300, the same price as the Switch when it gets to the store. I mean, even if he didn't say that, a price increase, fuck, $275 is too much. Like they got nothing else. That's all they fucking got, Tony. That's all I'm. That's all.
It's still hypocritical. You can't put Relic Gamer as a mod on your channel and then tell me that you give a shit about people being bad.
Yeah,
right? Don't forget his alt accounts.
They're gonna cork their fucking bats and then call you out on having a corked bat. Why? Because they fucking suck. Exactly. So that's all they got.
And number two, I heard you guys discussing this Flying Tigers kerfuffle.
Somebody made a video today about it.
I know. Here's the thing, and I didn't say this in the video because I always leave off a little bit of information, just a little bit. That video I made was 5 months ago. So in 5 months, that developer never said a single word about my video. He never said anything that was wrong. He didn't even comment. But suddenly, within hours of RetroBro saying that his game was done, that guy decided he had to jump on YouTube, find my video, and make a comment.
It's a porno. Mute. So yeah, I'm letting anyone on the stream. If somebody came on and put a porno on, big deal. Woo, you're so cool. Now go ahead, guys.
Yeah. So obviously, this person was very. He must have watched RetroBro stream, heard him say that, panicked, and found the first video he could that was talking about his game in order to put the kibosh on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, it's yeah, they got a lot of fucking problems over there in Amico land. That's it's not just us.
I'm pretty sure I heard somebody, I think it was Rab, saying that you can't really trust what the developer. Tony's always running with these wild stories from the developers and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm supposed to believe that Toe Jam and Earl is still happening when the developer said they're a tiny studio with 3 people. It's a 3-person studio, and everybody's working on other projects, but somehow they're also working on Toe Jam and Earl to be ported over to the Amico.
Yeah, okay. That's what I didn't get is because I heard Phil Adam, he dropped Toe Jam and Earl. And RetroBro even said, or someone said, hey, look, clearing up the misinformation, there's some, and they conveniently leave out on that it's the developer who said, we stopped working on it in early 2021, and we're currently not working on it. And we haven't heard from Intellivision, and we don't have a finalized contract. Yes, the door's open, but we haven't heard from them. And just because they say the door's open doesn't mean Intellivision could just take advantage of them tomorrow because they're working on other projects. They may not be able to
beyond that. Wait, because it's beyond that. When they said they stopped working on the Amico version, they actually hadn't done any work at all. It was just the write stuff down on a piece of paper and think of ideas phase. It never got further than that. The developer never got a dev kit. He never got his hand on the software. He said, I couldn't start working on the game because I didn't know if the Amico would be able to handle it. I didn't have a dev kit in order to test out my ideas to see if they would even work. And that's as far as they ever got, was just writing stuff down, what they wanted to do, what they had planned in mind to do. And they stopped hearing from Intellivision. That was the end of it.
Even if they picked up the phone tomorrow and made a deal with them, it's still probably going to take 6 months to a year before the game's ready to be released. It's not like, oh, it's just on the shelf. We can pick it up at any time.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if they realize this or not, or maybe they're in denial. Maybe backstage they're all talking about how terrible it is, and then they go out front and they put a brave face on. All right, guys, we got to pretend like everything's hunky dory. No problems here. There's no tanks in Iraq. Don't worry about it. But obviously, if the developer's saying that they're not working on these games, do you honestly think Intellivision is going to come out and say, hey guys, yeah, we got nothing. We don't got shit. None of the games are done. Fucking OS is broken.
Yes. Hold on.
100% correct.
Yes, account. Ben Silverplong has played it. He's in the chat. He's the guy who's down in the right corner. Now go ahead, Tony.
Right. What I'm saying, because they're always like, well, Tommy said this or the exec said that. Once again, these aren't employees being told things. RetroBro, they're not going to tell RetroBro, hey, everything sucks. The fucking system's broken. And by the way, we fucked everything up and blew the money. They're not telling them that, right? They're never going to tell them that. So the reality is any information they're giving to the Retro Bro, to Mike Mullis, to Rab, to any of these people, it's all got spin. It's already been pre-spinned before they spin it extra. You know what I'm saying?
It is mind-boggling to see the spinning happen in real time. To be like, you just found out the system could be going up in price, you know, $25 to $50, and it's a good thing. It's a reasonable thing that the system is now basically doubled in price since its original announcement.
Don't forget the price increase in the games as well.
Yeah,
and they spun that as a positive.
And don't forget, it's very easy for Nintendo to do a price cut or bundle a bunch of shit with it. And go ahead.
It boggles the mind. Imagine all you have to do is take the original trailer and put it next to today's Amico, and they're like two completely different systems. The price point, the online gaming, the affordability, the games themselves, it's night and day. It's almost completely different at this point.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I watched the Neil Patel thing again recently. The Ninja Kitty went over, and everything on there is almost night and day too. It's just like, as far as the business strategy, we heard of the $150 million. We heard of the way they were going to market this thing, like just the business angle of it. And I guess that all sort of culminates in them getting a new CEO, but they're just, it's been more than the pandemic, as far as you can tell. There's definitely management things at issue.
I think, I mean, to me, the Switch only makes sense if there's more to it than what we're hearing. Because what the spin is, or what the explanation is, it's to help.
You mean the CEO Switch, not the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the CEO
swap.
Switch.
The swap. Yeah.
They needed a Switch somewhere, so hey, let's switch the CEO. And if you notice, when the deep dive started, Tommy was listed as both CEO and CCO. So this, and I know, Tony, you said that you've heard that this switch actually happened a while back, but now it's public. To me, the Switch, just doing it doesn't make sense, but like, Tommy's got too much on his plate. Well, you guys can just reassign stuff and say, okay, report to him without changing the titles. Right. So, so it's like, why are they doing this? Is this to appease an investor because they need more money? And they're saying, hey, and that's just speculation, but is it to do something like that to get someone like, well, you know, Tommy's kind of toxic. If you made someone else the CEO, I'll spot you $10 million. You know, I could see that as a possibility. I'm not saying that's what's going on, or is there something else going on? I don't know.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just stumbled across this, so sorry for coming in late.
No, it's all good.
Did you guys already discuss the fact that Phil Adams just kind of gently mentioned that their operating system isn't in the place where it would need to be to even play a game?
I didn't even know that.
He said something about changing the
or play it well or whatever.
The footprint, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if they need to change something so that there's more room on the system to fit bigger games. I don't know what they're doing to the.
But he did say it sounded like I don't have a ton of experience in programming, but to me it sounded like maybe RAM like optimization. I mean, the thing only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, that's nothing.
And that's in the controller, right? Not in the console itself.
No, I believe that's in the console.
Now, Ben, you've held the controller. How do you feel about the way the controller just feels on its own and the way it reacts to the games? Do you have anything you could say?
I think that part is fine. The controller is, it's not going to be groundbreaking for every game, but it's going to, for certain games, it might, you know what I mean? Like,
feel like that 2 megabytes or whatever the amount you guys were saying was, do you feel like that's something holding it back, or do you think it's still functional and it's worthwhile?
What,
you don't have to say, tell me how you really feel.
What about the controller?
Yeah. Just because we were saying that it sort of lacks a capability.
The controller does feel fine. I wasn't in love with the top buttons.
Okay.
But like I said, they might work better for some games. And the screen might work better for some games. The dial might work better for certain games.
So you say some games we played were better than others? Is a mixed bag? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the question I haven't been able to get yet, I mean, the answer I haven't been able to get yet is are the controllers going to be configurable? That's what we not know. Like, can you change the settings? Can you make the
It's there.
screen the fire button?
It seems like from my perspective that there isn't like a consistent menu system across the games. So it seems to me that would be like a game to game thing.
Yeah,
But
it depends on what the developer does. If they say you have to use the screen to shoot, you're going to have to use the screen to shoot.
I mean,
Other developers could say, well, we'll put in an option. I mean, I play Sega Genesis all the time, and there's some games you can't change the configuration. Some that say, hey, whatever you want the A button to be, and that's up to the developer.
It's rough that they're not uniform, because the idea or the concept that was sold to a lot of the investors and pre-order people was that this would be sort of a highly curated system and that they would all be simple. And so you would expect that to mean like a uniform thing across them, but it's not what we've been seeing. So I would just expect that every single game has a different control scheme, and some games can, it's just like any system. Some games you could configure it. Some games you can configure a little bit of it. Like you get 3 options, and some games you get nothing. That's what I guess.
So
I think it's a little more. I just think it's a little more.
Go ahead.
Let me before we miss it. Gatoroo's, when we're talking about the footprint, he says he means the memory footprint. It's hogging up too much RAM. So apparently the OS is hogging too much RAM for some of these bigger games they want to bring on the system.
That's alarming.
I mean, the PS4 has what, 8 gigabytes of system memory, and this has 2. So I mean, again, I'm not a game developer, but I know a little bit about this stuff, and you couldn't buy a PC with 2 gigabytes of RAM now. I mean, so the expectation, I think, of any game developer is that you're dealing with a little bit more than that, unless you're doing something that is geared at like the absolute bottom of the barrel mobile market, which is fine too. Like I play a lot of really simple mobile games and I enjoy them, but it makes perfect sense if your hardware capabilities are that limited, then you're not going to go beyond incredibly limited games. And I think it sounded like that was a tacit acknowledgement of it. Now, sure, if you have really talented developers, I mean, there were some sophisticated games on, NES and SNES, and they probably had what, I don't know, 64 kilobytes or something of RAM. So sure, if you get a good enough developer and good enough hardware people, you can work some small miracles. But what has it been, like 2.5 years? So if they were going to pull these rabbits out of hats, then you would think that would be done by now. And to me, that just seemed really strange, that like the environment isn't even set up for a game of that level of complexity, which, and I'll wrap up in like 10 seconds. I mean, that game is, and I really enjoyed it. I played it on the PS4 and had a great time with it, but that game wasn't taxing the, system capabilities of the PS4, and the PS4 is what, 8 years old, 10 years old. So I don't know. It's that one really, really caught my attention, because if you've had 2 extra years to polish, button up, whatever term of art you want to use, to get your hardware and software engineers, to give them the extra time to really squeeze every, bit of juice out of this system, you would think that would all be fully explored, and they would know that by now. So it just seemed weird to me.
I have a random theory, and my random theory is they're trying to justify an upcoming price increase to the system. And in order to do that, they're going to have games with more substance, but they're having trouble getting games of more substance. Just speculation. But that's my thought. What they're doing is they're just doing it. And by the way, I just want to say, I'm beginning to appreciate modern day Atari a whole lot more after watching everything Intellivision has done with the Amico, because they came out with their system. They did it on a budget, I'm guessing, and people who played it seem to be kind of happy. It doesn't have a big user base, but that's okay. They didn't try to shoot for the moon. They're just like, this is what we can do in this environment. I think Atari is going to outlast the Amico.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, the Amico coming into the stores, if it is $300, it will just automatically draw a comparison to the Switch. There's just no way around it at that point.
Yeah, because if you're going to impulse buy, you'd probably impulse buy a Switch if they have it in stock.
And especially if it's, coming with recognizable games. The Mario movie is coming out, the Mario theme parks. It just seems like your kid is going to know that, recognize it, and
all the
ask you
kids know about it.
Yeah, like
I
all
have
the
I have two kids in elementary school, and they 100% know all the big three companies, and it's not like anyone wants obscure, Evercades or anything like that.
Yeah,
why did people buy the Atari 2600 over the Intellivision back in the heyday? It's, Intellivision, 16-bit processor. Look at the controller. Look at everything you can do. But Atari was where you had to go to play Space Invaders. Atari was where you had to go to play that port of Pac-Man that, even though it may have been terrible, that's where you had to go at the time for the systems. Eventually, Atari brought Pac-Man to the Intellivision, but Atari, simpler console, but they were able to attract more buyers because they had the games people wanted to play. It's always been about the games.
And never forget, you never forget, Intellivision when it came out was like top of the line. Intellivision was a PlayStation 5, so
that
comparison. I think it was geared towards
go
adults though more.
Yeah, it was like a computer simulation thing. The games had a lot of instructions, and it was that's why it was Intellivision. It's for smart people. The games are deep and they have a lot going on with them. It's the exact opposite of what they market now, of course.
Yeah.
But
like Phil said, the Atari.
I was just saying, not to mention, if you look at the old George Plimpton ads, I've always said that they compare it and say, look how better Intellivision looks against Atari. They're not comparing it to the 1979 Atari 400 computer, but they're comparing it to the older Atari game system. But go ahead.
No, but like Phil said, the Atari 2600 was user-friendly, compared to the Intellivision.
Yeah, somebody in one of the recent streams made the point that, when the original television came out, it was $300 and those were $1979. So that's like, $1,000. So clearly at $250, this is the deal of the century. But I mean, you totally covered it. I mean, the Intellivision of old was more comparable to a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Like, it was trying to be cutting edge and top of the line. It wasn't a bargain basement kind of thing.
If you remember those games, those are head scratcher games. If you're nostalgic for it, you're nostalgic for head scratching, like thought provoking games. My first experience with Intellivision was playing Intellivision Lives on the DS. And I was like, whoa, this isn't what I thought it was. I thought this was going to be like Atari. These are very deep, and I had to like look it up and just try to understand each thing. And it was interesting and fun, but just not it's not what Amico is.
Well, and I think to Ben's point, that's why it was more of an adult system.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you had to program the keyboard for some stuff, and you had to use the overlays to show you what buttons did what. And,
I know that Astro Smash is a simple game. That's what I ended up playing most on that DS thing, and but most of them, but most of them they're trying to be like computer games on a console.
And just so people know, I like the Intellivision. I like the original Intellivision. A lot of people do. It just lost to the Atari 2600. And one of the reasons why so many of us are fascinated with the Amico is, one, it's bringing the Intellivision name back after 40 years. But two, it's just a fascinating piece of video game history unfolding right before our eyes.
Mm-hmm. And I think I would say that's why the pro people are into it too. They get a sense that they're like on the ground floor of this thing. Even if they're looking at it optimistically, they're looking at it like, oh, I'm helping this thing. I'm helping design this. I'm helping them, giving them ideas. Even though, on the FAQ, it's like, we do not want unsolicited ideas. We do not want your ideas. But Tommy was always willing to be like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, we're going to work on that. That's cool, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I have somebody talked about having empathy for people with opposing views, and I think that I do. Like, I fully understand that people like DJC and some other folks in that group are genuinely passionate about retro gaming in general and the Intellivision in particular. So just having anything that's carrying that banner is exciting. And like you said, people 20, 30 years ago didn't get to have this level of even perceived influence. So yeah, I think that's kind of seductive for people. But I don't know. I compare it to I loved point and click adventure games when I was growing up. Any of the
Me
games
too.
from Sierra, like Quest for Glory, Space Quest, that kind of
Space
thing.
Quest, yeah.
Yeah, and the people that
Wave.
designed the Quest for Glory series, they're older folks now. They're basically semi-retired, but they decided that they were going to make a spiritual successor to that series, and I was super excited for that. And I knowingly kind of overpaid for what the game was worth on Kickstarter to basically, give them a little bit of free money because I wanted to see this thing come to life. I think it took something like 5 or 6 years, and they, projected that it was going to take 2. The difference, I guess, is, and maybe I was at a different point in my life, I don't know, but I wasn't going on streams every week saying that that game was going to take the world by storm. I was just quietly waiting and hoping that they would actually churn something out, and they did. And I think it's a decent game. And I don't have a problem with people going and making content and being excited and everything. Where they lose me, but I guess it's what's keeping me interested, is like you guys said, the kind of spin zone stuff, that it's just like it really kind of strains your ability to understand if people, to borrow No Square Gamers phrase, are they being intellectually dishonest? Is there some ulterior motive, or is it
Well,
just
yeah, some of them are.
pure
Some of them are.
fanboyism?
Some of them are definitely investors, which must be said. Show, are you there? Show, regular to the Geek Getaway.
Yo, what's good, gentlemen? I'm here. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes,
Very
sir.
much so.
Word. Yo, the party is over. I only came just to say the party is over. Yo, these motherfuckers is running the circus, man. Everything is ridiculous. What's going on here?
They went from one
You
ring.
telling me they still at the drawing board? They still at the drawing board as far as I'm concerned.
Tommy's the chief creative
Still
officer.
tweaking the OS.
The chief creative officer? Yeah, that may as well be the janitor. There ain't no chief creative officer. He's a janitor now.
It's a sign. It's a sign that things are being created, right?
I guess. I hope so. The party is over, man. What are you saying?
Creation is the first step.
Oh yeah, after 3 years though. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Some of you people have been here waiting for this thing for 3 years. You telling me they still at the drawing board? No, the party is over.
And it's going
to
up
be
in
like
price.
2024 before, and it's going up in price. Okay, so over the price of the Switch. Like, come on now.
All of the consoles will be
games
going
are not
down.
even
Oh
Switch.
yeah. I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something real quick. Jump back in. I just wanted to say they literally said it on the stream that just ended with Retro Bro. Oh, you got to pre-order yours right now because it's going to go up in price. So you can pre-order it now.
Pre-order so it can come out. That's what
it might be $400, and if they sell out of them all at $200, it might be $450. Smash it.
Oh, okay. Well, Smash is supposed to be the person that loves like talking about stocks and stuff. Okay, he made his one big thing. Okay, yeah, I made money on what he made money too. So yeah, I know all about it. But yo, the console is over.
He's an Amico.
Hear me out. If the console doesn't make 2022, the shit is over. Because who's waiting for it now? Come on now.
It's already over. Even if it comes out, it's over. Even if it comes out, if they're raising the price, it's already over.
Right, it's already over for real. Like, come on, these games are not even like as good as Flash games. Come on now.
Well, the founders will get theirs.
Oh, of course, the founders will get theirs. I'll probably get one because I'm trying to resell it.
There'll be a few thousand people that buy them from Best Buy for $300 because it's in television. There's always going to be people. It's not going to.
How many more people are going to buy it after like all of the people that want to collect it buy it? Like, can anyone seriously tell me that somebody's going to sit there and buy this, like for their kids for something, when they can buy a Switch that's cheaper and a bunch of games that's cheaper?
And all they're going to do is lower the price of the Switch and add more into the bundle.
Right,
That's all they're going to do because they got to get rid of the OG ones to sell the OLED
Didn't you
ones.
guys? Didn't you guys hear the stream where they said that all Switch games are $80? They neglected to mention the eShop games, of course. No, the eShop was just shovelware. They said that's what Rab said.
Listen, guys, we haven't even gotten into what Switch will do, where they will start making the systems based on the games. So we'll have the Animal Crossing Switches on the small ones.
Well, they already have those. Then they sell out
the big one. They have the Animal Crossing for the big one, but wait till they make them for the small one, and when we make it more, and there's
like I don't even see the Amico even being better than like a Nintendo Wii. Why would you buy this for your kid over the Wii or over the Wii U?
Buy a used Wii with 4 controllers, with some top tier games. Get your Mario Kart, get an Animal Crossing, get some party games, get Wii Sports. You're set.
Thank you.
And if you're a clever guy, you can figure out how to get emulation on the Wii too. So it's no reason. There's no reason why you wouldn't want that.
Well, I just think that they're just for real. All the shills or whatever you want to call them, they're all in denial. You saw how dejected they look. They look so sad.
They look sad, man.
They looked out of it. I felt bad for bro. Bro did not want to be there at that moment. I was like, let me buy you a drink, brother.
When bro cut the stream off, he just seemed kind of like, fuck it, man.
He wanted to ASAP. That's what we call ASAP when you got to go.
Let me read something.
I didn't see that stream you guys are talking about.
Oh, you should have to check it out.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I want to hear your play-by-play. I want to share something someone shared on my Discord today. They said this. This is in the Nintendo section. I went a little bit crazy buying Switch games at Target's online game sale. They have a lot of them marked down, and you get a free one for every 2 purchase. I got 9 games for $150, including some AAA titles.
There you go.
Did they bring that up? That you know how to shop?
It's always $80. That's what they say.
Well, that's it.
Well, they talked about Amico
for
holding
a full-size experience.
Well, they're gonna sit here and try and justify like paying like $30. I think somebody said there was gonna be $30 for a game now. What happened to the $8 that they were talking about from the beginning? Everything is just different now.
Okay, remember $2.99 to $7.99?
Yeah,
is there going to be any game that's going to be $2.99?
Nah.
Is
I may as well go to the eShop for that one.
Is there going to be a game that's $4.99?
Oh, maybe Pong. Maybe Pong.
Maybe.
No, Pong is licensed. You know.
Now,
so that's
JT was saying that. So Smash JT was saying that as one of the measures to save Amico and its finances was that he was trying to throw out, well, maybe they could we know that some of the games are smaller experiences. Those games could be like $2 and $4, but they could charge like $25 for a game like Night Stalker that you could play all night. And that would save it. Like, oh man, I guess.
Feel bad for them. They just threw away all of their morals and everything for it. They're just gone with it. They just wanted to show.
When you say they hoard themselves out.
Oh, of course. Come on now.
That's one. Real quick.
Tony has something.
Yo,
I have
good,
something.
Tony?
Breaking news. I got an exclusive.
Breaking news. He came in with the breaking news.
Because, I wasn't going to jump back on, but then I got an email or a DM. I got a DM on Twitter. Got some exclusive news. So apparently somebody had emailed Intellivision asking some questions, and I got a reply from Brittany, who runs the Intellivision what the hell they call
service?
Customer service, yeah. So the email reads as follows from Brittany. Says, hello. Yes, I do see your order here and also resend an order confirmation to your email. We are not able to provide a specific launch date. However, know that the entire team at Intellivision is focused and determined to launch Amico as soon as possible. We are currently optimizing our system and finalizing our launch day games.
It only took you 3 years. Jesus.
That was the same wording, focused and determined. That was the same wording, right? So she's getting script, huh?
They made that shit up yesterday.
She basically confirmed that the OS and the launch games are not even done yet.
Sure.
And this is the same company who just Nick Richards said, 30 days or so. Well, that's supposed to be on the 10th. And now Phil said it's going to be the end of the month. So it's a delay for their delayed announcement delay. It's like Inception.
It's delay Inception. Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. And did you guys?
You got to be fair. They said 30 days or so.
Right.
Or so.
Pointed out the or so.
They got to put that or so just in case.
Or so.
Jesus.
And did you catch what Phil Adam was saying too?
Has a qualifier.
Did you hear what Phil was saying about how he has to make the decision because they're losing money on every system they make in the US if they're going to do all the pre-orders or not, if they're going to fulfill them or just or founders. So now it's like, well, if you're VIP, we're not sure if you're important enough or not. We have to make that decision if you're worth the time.
Oh no. It's not looking good. This is the Amico funeral, isn't it?
It's the funeral. The party's over, like I said earlier.
It was on life support, and now it's the funeral.
Yeah, I seen a show came in hot. He came in.
Bro, man, I'm sitting here looking at this shit. These people are over here. Like, I try not to be lit, but it was just too hilarious. Come on now. You got bro over here like twisting in knots. He may as well be like a pretzel at this point. Twisting in knots trying to explain this bullshit. And remember, this was the same bro 6 hours ago talking mad shit, talking like, you guys don't know anything. I got the real news. I got all the, the hotness. Yo, Phil came in and said everything you know is wrong. Shut up. Yeah. Get out of here. Bro, I love bro. Bro, I think bro, if he would stop, I would just say this. I think bro would be a cool ass dude if he would just let this Amico shit go. For real, because the party is over. I think if Phil comes in and he cleans up house, you will never see Tommy again. They about to put him in a box somewhere. That's number one. Number two, they about to fire like half of everybody. If they let Phil do what he has to do to actually get this thing off the ground, everything is over. Like, you think Tommy's gonna show up anymore on stream like at late night to have party? No, the party's over. You ain't gonna see Tommy ever again.
I was gonna say,
what do you think about this?
Go ahead, Tony.
What's good?
I was gonna say, what do you think about this FTB, the tax? Not being able to pay your taxes in California.
That's why Tommy got fucking ousted.
That's why he got ousted. I'm telling you, yeah. Amongst other things.
And somebody Mullis or one of those fucking guys was trying to say, or maybe it's JT. Well, he's in charge. He ousted himself. There's no one there to oust.
Of course.
There's big fucking investors, and as Phil Adams said when he came on Bro's podcast today, was we all do this as a team. There's no one person in charge, and Tommy's really busy with other stuff. And it's like, yeah, you got fucking pushed out over that, I think.
Right. Well, come on. Like, I thought for a while especially after Tony's interview with Nick. By the way, if you haven't seen that interview, you should actually watch it. After that interview, I thought for the longest that Nick is actually running the show. Maybe Nick, maybe Phil, but it ain't Tommy. Tommy's just like the face. And somehow they probably put all of this faith that Tommy could make it happen. Meanwhile, everything is just burning down. For the last year. And
I think that it's fucked up that really what Retro Bro was using to legitimize himself was Phil Adam, and then Phil Adam came in and said, "No, you're fucking wrong." Like,
yeah, right. He's like, "No, everything you said is wrong. We're not even done. We ain't done with the UI. We're not done with anything. We don't have any marketing. We still at the drawing board with some things. There's only going to be 20 games. It ain't going to be like 60 games or whatever the fuck you were listening to the other day." What's good?
Is this a deja vu from the Nick Richards interview?
It is.
A little bit. But
so are we gonna get the follow up of Tommy's wrath tomorrow?
The Nick Richards interview
video of Tommy going around the office tomorrow.
The Nick Richards interview was with Tony, who already knew what the fuck was going on. So Tony was like green and shit. This interview was with a bunch of people who were fucking having meltdowns as it happened.
Yeah. Like, I was looking at some of these people when he was right. I was just saying, like, the revelation, like watching people like DJC Rab for the one that talks the most about everything he thinks he knows was just completely dead silent. It was just like, what is going on here? And I was just laughing my ass off. I was like, yo, I got to come in. I don't come in very often, but I had to come in and say something.
You need to do more often.
Oh, I come in more often. Don't worry, man. Weed or no weed, that's what I'll say. But honestly, the party is over, so I'm gonna sit in the back. Also, shout outs to my man Potion Sword Run. Yo, they had like 10 or 20 fucking relic alts all like trying to like chime in, calling Potion like a troll. Nah, Potion was in there trying to say, "What's going on, guys? You guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid." Yo,
that was good.
He was like the only person there. Everybody else is like in denial or crying or whatever. And it's like, no, these people pulled the wool over your eyes. Fucking wake up. It's been 3 years. You still ain't getting a console. 2023, you ain't getting a console. Maybe 2024 if they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they've been telling you to pull the wool over other people's eyes, and they've been showing videos. They've been showing videos of your excitement. They've been using you to fucking pitch shit to investors. Like, come on,
right?
It's more than just you being fucking lied to. It's you guys getting fucked over.
Right, they're getting fucked over, and honestly, I feel bad for some of the real Intellivision fans, the people that would be on fucking Atari Age like 24/7 talking about the Amico. Even DJC amongst anybody else, I feel that he's an actual.
Yeah, he seems legit.
I don't feel bad.
He's a legit fan, and I feel bad for the boy.
Let's also never forget DJC is a confirmed investor, so never forget that.
Confirmed investor, yeah, he's an investor, but he's also a fan though.
He also loses me when he starts talking about hate journalism. I mean, he can be a little over the top too.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I like him when he's just talking about games.
That's true.
Yeah,
talk about arcades.
He made personal attacks on people.
Yeah, he gets his feelings hurt for somebody that tries to do comedy that much. He seems to have a little bit of thin skin sometimes.
Well, I think it's more so because he's really passionate about the Amico and just in television in general, which is fine, but that doesn't mean that you should see the forest for the trees or whatever they say. Like, if the thing is a fucking dumpster fire, it's a dumpster fire.
Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, fuck that bullshit.
It's a dumpster come out hot on me. I ain't never attacked DJC. I never said shit to him. Never fucking did.
Do you guys
no reason.
Do you guys think that there people like DJC and people like Bro and Mulus, do you think they'll continue their fervor and their spirit now that Tommy's not really quote unquote CEO and they can't really, go directly to Tommy, who's the guy that they sort of think they're friends with or are friends with? How do you think this will affect it?
Who says they won't still talk to Tommy?
No, but that none of his word or anything he says is as important anymore, or sort of has lost a little bit.
They can't use his words as gospel that this is going to happen anymore.
Yeah, they can. They could do just what DJC, not DJC. I'm sorry, what Retro Bro did the other night, where it says, "I got off the phone with Tommy. He told me 27 games are doing it." And
Tommy said one thing, and then there's the truth.
Yeah, and he's the CCO, so he knows something.
I was gonna say, they. I forgot. Sorry. Go ahead.
Tommy's.
Tommy, I'm gonna jump off. Carl, who's coming back to the Amico stuff, he wants to hop on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump off like Carl.
Damn it, Carl.
Yeah, Carl. I don't see him in the guest room, but
I'm gonna jump off right now. Who's gonna come on?
See ya, Tony.
Keith Kermit, love you.
So you did ask that question just before your boy come in. You asked the question about, are they still going to follow Tommy? Now, the better question is the mystique for Tommy Tallarico still going to be there now that he's no longer the CEO?
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I remember. I was just going to say that in the stream that just ended, they were saying, they were trying to spin it into like a good thing. And one of them said, that's what a true leader really does. It's like, a true leader he immediately stops leading. Yeah. That's what a true leader does. He gets in the back behind some other people.
You know what that reminded me of? High school debate class or club. Yeah. Like, I mean, the more direct analogy, I guess, is like the spin room after a presidential debate. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a skill set. I will give a couple of those guys credit that I don't know if they had advance notice of like exactly what was going to be revealed, but if they were reacting to some of that on the fly, I mean, it's a skill set, I guess, to just come up with alternative explanations for things, that like 90% of people are not going to agree with.
Some of these people are really
with
bad
a straight face.
Some of these people are really bad, like Sinister Moon, when he was saying, well, the people who aren't spending their money have more money to spend on it.
Sure.
I think some of those guys, like Sinister Moon, they just follow the script, and then when it comes off script, they look like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah,
so, like,
what they do is they insult you. They insult you, or they try to censor you, or they say,
well, that's because
they'll say, well, you haven't even played it, so you don't deserve to talk about it.
NSG,
that's the best one.
It's because,
I'll also say really quick what Darius says too, which is like, I'm an idiot, like I'm stupid, I'm a stoner, and I'm making better points than you guys. So what does that say?
Can I just point out one thing real quick that keeps bugging me? And granted, I probably should stop watching these videos, but like most people in this little world, I can't. It's, I'm spending way too much time watching these train wrecks, but I'm probably not going to stop anytime soon.
Good.
Anyway, you can't
Anyway,
get away from.
yeah,
I've said that.
Here's what blows me away with the logic that I've been hearing the last couple streams. They keep making these points like, oh, well, a trip to the movies runs you $100, or a trip to Disneyland costs $5,000, or a family van will cost $30,000 or $50,000. Yeah. A 4-person house that's going to run you $500,000. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
$300. A Nintendo Switch costs you $300.
Like the analogy I would give is, yeah, you can go to a steakhouse and spend $300, and lots of people do that. Or you go to the bar and blow $300. That's all fine, but that doesn't mean like, okay, you go to a steakhouse, you spend $300 on a steak. That's an option. Here's another option. You can eat pasta for $2. That doesn't mean that I'm going to pay $300 for a plate of pasta and say, well, I could be eating a steak, so I guess it's all the same. Like, people make value
with games. It's the same thing with games. If you're out there looking for hyper casual games, yeah, you could pay $60 for Kirby, or you could pay $2 for 99% of the hyper casual games that are on Switch eShop.
Right.
Yeah, that's when they totally lost me, when somebody said, oh, well, for Night Stalker, I would pay $35. Well, maybe you would. But maybe
somebody else won't.
The average person is going to pay $4.99 for that.
Right. As Muley said, the market will dictate what happens, and that's what we've been trying to tell you guys. That it's not about your fandom.
Well, even before the market dictating something, they have to prove it first. Like, you can't just charge whatever and it's just assume people are going to buy it because it's a children's console or whatever. It has to prove itself in the market.
So Carl the Shirtless is here. Carl, are you on the air?
What's up, Carl?
Yeah, I'm here. First of all,
welcome back.
Big fan.
Twisted and crazy and obsesses with a lot of you, and that's okay.
Hey, Carl, we love you. Welcome.
Yeah, so I definitely have a few things to say about this. I knew something like this happened.
Sorry, go ahead, Carl.
No, I knew this sort of thing would happen. I said before they're going to get him somehow in some way, and everyone told him, "Oh, he'll get away with it. He'll get away with it." Well, he didn't get away with it. He got demoted.
No. Retro Blow was clear that it was a parallel move. That even though somehow Phil was getting promoted, this was a parallel move. Don't ask me how that math works out.
Because he's so busy.
You ever play the Gauntlet? There's a guy in that game that perfectly symbolizes him, and he basically says, all this walking is pumping my legs. That's exactly the kind of guy Retro is. He's an idiot.
Intellivision Amico is about to die.
If it came up and bit him in the backside.
No swear. It is a parallel move because I'm pretty sure Tommy's still pulling the same amount of money.
Oh,
good point.
Yes, I'm sure he is.
Let me get my headset on.
Yuck.
So that's another point. They have 50 employees, like
$800,000 a month, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. I posted somewhere that have you guys ever played Axiom Verge?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was supposedly developed by one guy, and granted, that's not a console, so I understand that. But half of the discussion is not about the hardware; it's about how they're acting as a software publisher.
Okay, so in terms of software, I've heard that there's upwards of 150 people because you're talking about contracted software. So not all the software is coming from inside Intellivision.
I think none of it is coming from inside Intellivision. I don't think they're doing any truly first party.
I thought they did Astro Smash. Does anyone know? Chat or anybody?
I'm pretty sure that was a third party, and like maybe Tommy did the music, or be like John.
Tommy. By the way, somebody Shazammed the music on that on my last stream, and they were talking about if you start Shazamming some of the music that comes up, it doesn't say Tommy. Go ahead though.
Oh yeah, I just mean that like they've gone out of their way to basically say, hey, we are one step from Nintendo. Like Nintendo has true in-house software development. We don't quite do that. We work directly with the software developers. We help them along. We help them with coding to make sure everything works really seamlessly with the, with all of our particulars.
With Android, I mean the Amico.
Well, and then they go a step further. Like if you listen to Tommy, he'll say, "Hey, we're creatively involved, like, you know, in the drawing room with these guys coming up with ideas and gameplay mechanics and all this kind of stuff." Like, okay, if that's true, and if you have 50 people, so even if 20% of those 50 people are involved in software development, that's 10 people. So with 10 people and 2 to 3 years, they still haven't finished, you know, the bulk of these games. It's just something doesn't add up. And I'm not in the camp of saying that it's a scam. It just seems to be oddly run and strangely managed. So who knows? Maybe something will change.
But they're doing optimizing stuff. Stuff.
I don't think it's actually optimizing. I think everything they've been doing, they've been very carefully planning to make it for like an investment pitch. Everything has been an investment pitch. In fact, if you think back, some of them they would make sure they would have like kids being taken pictures of in camera and everything, like, oh, get a shot of the Amico there, get a shot of the families being happy so they can turn around and sell it back to investors. So they've been just running like this low-key investor type of thing for the longest instead of actually finishing the console.
Oh, by the way, Show,
what's good?
You know you're talking about the Switch, right? I said the exact same thing.
Yeah,
you can spend $100 more and buy the Switch OLED.
Of course. In fact, I just bought the Switch OLED. That's exactly.
Ooh, isn't it nice?
It's great. It's beautiful. It's actually.
Man, I used to say you can buy a Switch with a cracked screen, and that'll be the same thing as Amico. But if they're gonna charge upwards of $300, it really is. You don't even need to fucking buy a broken one.
Right.
No.
You guys might have talked about this at the beginning, but I honestly think, because it is fun to play, you know, armchair technology officer. I think that their best chance would have been if they had forgotten about these controllers from the start. If they just made it basically souped up Android box, throw in, you know, the app for the controllers, and let people plug in USB or Bluetooth controllers for normal. Yeah,
but
they
really
could have done that for $100.
But really, the new TVs have fucking Android in them. There's no reason you need to strap another Android to the thing. The new TV is
maybe. I mean, for the motion controls, maybe. Like, I don't know if you can play, you know, cornhole or Wii bowling kind of stuff.
Just
the
input.
Tragedy is that the specs really, the Amico really is an expensive Android box. It uses Android.
Yeah,
it uses the hardware.
And what I'm saying is the Android inside your TV, I believe, is better. And if you use your phone as the controller, your phone is better than this thing. So you don't. It's unnecessary hardware.
Chime in here for a second.
Yeah.
I do programming and stuff. That would
be a
nightmare. The better solution that I had was just, why didn't they just team up with Evercade, come out with a special Amico controller, and tag with them and let them make the hardware and just pump out software. That would have, or
even all the consoles, like the way Guitar Hero was done. You could make this special controller that's adaptable or childlike or whatever, and it goes into all the consoles.
I mean, the cynical answer to that, in my opinion, is that it would not have gotten any attention. I do think that for whatever reason, even though the mindset is like 20 years old at this point, the gaming community still gets excited about consoles. Even if they're kind of silly, they get attention.
Yeah, but they get excited about brands. And if you came out with like a bunch of original Intellivision games that come with the controller, and there's still hype in the brand itself that you can use to levy that. I mean, like a Guitar Hero in my mind.
I mean, here's the thing about why people like consoles. It's simplicity. Unlike Windows, which has flexibility and all that stuff, you don't have to worry about screwing up your own console. It takes a lot of work to actually fuck up an Xbox Series S or a Nintendo Switch. It takes a lot of work to ruin it.
Yeah. I would just it feels like we're all getting too much of what it is, like I just personally don't like redundant hardware. I don't like to. It's the guy that's like, I'm gonna have a Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 4. It's just too much similar hardware for me to want to have in my house. But I feel like I've got enough things that are already an Amico. So the controller is really the unique part. But
I mean, you could take. You don't need the Amico pack-in titles. Each of the big consoles have them.
Do you guys remember how much an Amico controller was? Was it $80, $90?
Something like that, 70, 80.
I think it's 80.
I don't
It's
fucking
like
think I'd pay them. I don't think I'd pay fucking $80 for an Amico controller that came with 10 games. But that's just me.
If they made that, if that controller is really an $80 controller, they need to redesign it. That is simply too much for what they're doing.
They have Mad Little Pixel has been reviewing these cheap little controller console things where you plug them in and play with them. If you are good at fixing that kind of stuff, you could fix it. And one of the last he was talking about was actually the games look pretty fun. You know, you get more than just 6 pack-in titles of that to boot.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they married themselves to that controller. There's no way they're getting rid of that controller.
Oh yeah, it's a big part of
way.
the identity. I just think that there might have been some room for a motion control focused product because, well, I shouldn't even say that because the Switch has it, and
yeah,
you know,
the Switch has it. And remember when the Wii was popular, you could go to any drugstore and get a knockoff Wii. Right. You know, they have them all over the place, you know. I don't know that. Honestly, I don't think people like motion controls as much as they think they do.
They don't.
They don't like motion controls.
Oh yeah, it's a niche, but maybe they could have sold.
I mean, like
500,000.
The problem is it was a gimmick.
If it were half the price.
If you remember the Wii days, the games weaned off using the motion controls because people didn't.
And don't forget. I was going to say, don't forget every single fucking console after Wii on Nintendo has motion controls, from the 3DS to the Switch to holding a Switch controller, which can aim for you. They all have motion controls.
And programming.
Mario Odyssey is heavily built around a lot of the motion control stuff. You can do without it, but it's in there. It's baked in.
Yeah, I guess it would have to be motion controls and something that doesn't appear to compete with any of the major consoles. So it would have to be like $100. So yeah, we're talking about a different product at that point. Your
phone has motion controls and it has AR and that was appealing at some point, you know. Yeah, so I'm saying it has, you know.
Well, that's what I mean.
If you can use a phone as an Amico controller, then yeah, it's that same level.
That's why I think they should have basically just said, you know, for the few motion control games that are on the system, use your phone. I mean, there's probably like 5% of the population doesn't have a phone, but you know,
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've bought like third-party Nintendo Switch controllers that had motion control that were like 20 fucking bucks.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Tommy, I made a video because the Atari creep said that it was $1,000 to buy a Switch with 2 controllers, and I had to make a video.
Tommy Tallarico in the Neil Patel Investors thing said that an Xbox controller costs $179. He only showed the tip-top one, but
I pointed out links on Amazon where you can buy controllers for $25 to $50.
I bought them, and they're good.
Motion controllers, wireless.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. When you're buying into an established console, there exists so many third-party options. I've got like smaller controllers for children that are like, they look just like a Pro controller, but it's slimmed. It's like 3/4 the size for smaller hands, and it was like $20 and everything. It has every piece of functionality. I don't think it's HD Rumble, but it has Rumble. So.
See, the problem I have with Atari Creep, he looks like a greasy meatball and talks like one.
Carl,
damn it, Carl.
He follows a greasy leprechaun, so that's how it goes.
Man, it creeps my butt. I'll stand up for him. I know he's got.
Yeah, but the things he says he deserves.
I'll let you all fight with him with that things. I think one of the problems though is the touchscreen. I think the touchscreen, while it sounded interesting, I think that it's actually going to end up really killing the system, both the cost and the fact that I do believe it causes lag because you have to deal with the touch screen communicating wirelessly to another system. It's not the same as your phone. I think they would have been better off if they eliminated the touchscreen. I think if that was out, the price would have came down. Originally, the system was supposed to be 150, 180. It was supposed to...
At that point, though, Phil, it has no gimmick other than you saying family friendly.
I think the gimmick could have been you keep everything else out, and maybe you do something unique with the controller that's not a touchscreen. But the whole idea of bringing back the new franchises and retro series, that was interesting to me. I thought that, that was an interesting idea.
It's just nothing new. It's like so fucking heavily entrenched in the other consoles.
Oh, right. But the problem is they're trying to come up with a $300,000 or 300,000 unit selling system when they probably should have been thinking 30,000 and budgeting and budgeting that instead of trying to dive right in.
I'll give you a good example, like the clone consoles. They don't bank on selling millions. They bank on selling to a specific group.
Yeah. Cheap people.
Getting back to what No Swear Gamer said, they wanted the gimmick so they can have the poker game or the Farkle or whatever, but they didn't wait. I guess the focus tests showed that would be worth the value of adding the extra $50 per controller. And in my opinion, it wouldn't. But
sorry, Atomic Age, I don't have enough room for anyone else. Go ahead.
Tony's back.
Actually, I can tap out.
Yeah, Tony's always
See you
back.
later.
Have a good one, show. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it's good talking to you. Also, everybody tell Tommy Amico to make a freaking vinyl. I need that vinyl. I need that vinyl of Tommy and the Mikos.
But the problem, then I got to see people's addresses.
I'm the first one in the door.
Yeah.
Well,
it'd be fun.
My address. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. Rock on.
Get it down, guys.
Let's talk about the affordability of the budget clone consoles. You can't buy like the Mega SG anymore from Analog. I've tried. You can't even make it past the add a cart screen. They're not making them anymore.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
I'll do.
You have no choice but to either buy original hardware or the clone consoles.
Yeah. I'll go to other channels. Just participate, which doesn't really benefit me that much. But I'm just here to chat. But yes, I'll do anything for views. At least that's what we're told.
I just wanted to say that because they constantly say that we do that in their streams. They fucking do that in our streams too. So really.
Hey, I love me some skulking. Okay,
here's the deal. I talk about what I'm interested in talking about. If I want to do stuff for views, I would get more modern. I would talk about Switch. I talk about Xbox One. I talk about PlayStation.
Phil, if Phil was trying to get views, he wouldn't be fucking streaming 10-Yard Fight. He'd be streaming like modern games that people care about, like fucking Minecraft. Okay, shut the hell up. Phil does what he wants.
I say just do what you want, okay?
He does what he wants. He plays old games, and that's what he digs. So lay off.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, so I heard you guys talking about motion controls, but you guys didn't mention that one of the biggest pro Amico video makers, Smash JT, basically shit all over the Wii's for having motion controls, saying how motion controls are a gimmick, they suck, they're terrible.
Mm-hmm. I've clipped that up before. Yeah, it's a funny quote. JT talks out of three sides of his mouth and one side of his asshole, I think. But
remember, in keeping with the tradition of Amico After Dark, we're supposed to be interrupting each other.
Yeah. But a lot of these guys, Carl, are basically on record saying that they dislike all the things that Amico represents.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, bro. I mean, we've got the tape of fucking Retro Bro saying that it's like a bad idea and kids will never play it. It's like nothing changed other than Tallarico started being their fucking friend, and they got big ideas.
That's two things that really muddy the waters. One is the whole Tommy Tallarico effect, befriending people, right? Because when you are friends with someone, you'll stick up for them even when they act like idiots or don't make sense. And then the other is the crowdfunding that they did where anyone could crowdfund. And now you don't know who's invested in it monetarily and doesn't want to see their $1,000 to go down the drain. So that really muddies the waters. That really can influence, and that can explain why some, not all, because there's some who are generally just interested, have no skin in the game, but that can explain why some of them, they'll just spin it to no end no matter what, because either it's their buddy and they'll stick up to them until the end, or they got money involved and they don't want to lose it.
And that's really what makes it intriguing and attracts people like me to this. It's just attracting flies to shit because it's like, look at how far these guys will bend over backwards and you watch their faces contort and they touch their noses over and over again and they just start saying weird shit like, what if you stop eating, some food so you could buy an Amico? And, well, you got to buy one now because they might raise the price even more. What if it's $400? You should get in and pre-order it now. Like it's insane watching this, it's its own show.
Or it could be a collector's item. If it fails, it's a collector. So you got to get it now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible reason to buy stuff. Oh,
but that's what some of the statements are.
I mean, my personal opinion, I don't
disagree.
I don't think people will be video game collecting the way they are in the future, but that's just what I think.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the product is the fact that you guys all grew up with video game consoles. The kids that aren't going to be like, oh, I got to go get my iPhone generation 6. They don't give a fuck. It's not going to be the same thing.
Well, here's the reality. Physical media will begin to degenerate, so they'll have no recourse but to either put that on new cartridges or just go through emulation.
We grew up with the games being married to certain consoles and that being a priority and things. The kids today aren't like that. They are literally. An iPhone's an iPhone. It doesn't matter what fucking generation it is. A phone is a phone. The games are just on them.
My cousin has 2 kids, and one time they were playing Minecraft on the phone, and it didn't mean any more to them than it was playing it on a console.
They're not going to collect the fucking phones that were like the same phone they had when they were kids, and no one's going to give a shit about Amico, is what I think.
What are you talking about? We're going to be collecting Nokia phones in a couple of years. We're going to be...
Right.
You're welcome to it.
Like it's fucking ridiculous.
Comment real quick.
The only people that are going to collect it is the people who are collecting old school Intellivision stuff already, in my opinion. So that's already a slim group, and that's already fading out, and people are selling their collections. And I'm sorry to say it, but they are passing away also.
Yeah, Tommy, real quick. There's a comment from Teletrong.
Let me look.
It says Retro Slow was a Tommy hater at the beginning.
What's the guy's name?
Teletron. It was at 12:35.
Okay, I got you.
All right, so I want to address this because I did a video on this actually. Retro Bro, when he first heard of the console, when he was just looking at it from the outside, had no contact with Tommy whatsoever, he looked at it and just like the rest of us said, these games suck.
Yeah,
the price is too much. Kids are not going to want to play this.
I got the clip on my channel.
Within days, Tommy got a hold of him, and suddenly he loved it, and everything was great, and it was it was going to be the best console ever.
Why people call it a cult?
It was a total 180 degree. And as someone who has experience talking to Tommy, I know he's really, really good at schmoozing you. He's really good at telling you what you want to hear.
Listen, not only did Bro change his mind, but Bro went ahead and started saying anyone else who says what he used to say is a fucking asshole, is crooked, there's something wrong with them, they're hate journalists, for saying the same shit that he used to fucking say. So
Retro Bro has this. Retro Bro does this thing where he acts like he's on your side one moment, then a few weeks later he'll change his mind, and he'll repeat this.
The only difference wasn't just Retro Bro though. Remember, Smash JT made a whole video shitting on the Amico, shitting on it, terrible. He had to unlist it. He was so embarrassed that he shit on it so hard that it was a terrible idea. But then again, he met Tommy, was dazzled. And remember,
at
least like 3 years ago. So
at least when I do stuff like this, I admit that I do it, and it's because of my own flaws. I admit it. Yeah. I don't just deny the crap out of it like they do.
But here's what I'm saying. Here's the point I'm trying to make. When these gentlemen were dazzled by Tommy and everything that he said, console wasn't even made. The OS wasn't done. The games weren't finished. What the fuck dazzled them? There was nothing there. It's been 3 years and we still got
The
nothing.
Ferrari
You
man.
got me.
He's a talented pitchman. I mean, that's a talent.
It's like the idea of it. Like there are some of the, it's like you said, it's a pitchman. It's the idea of it. Like when you start talking about Amico in 3 years, 4 years, and like just what can happen, and you start talking about, because Tommy convinces these people he knows more about the industry than they do, when I don't think he does, because a lot of it looks like he's been sort of not looking at the industry since maybe 06, 08. When he says things like the hardcore gamers, when he says this doesn't have phone graphics, like just weird, this has 3D graphics, this doesn't have phone graphics, like just weird shit. Like he's got these guys convinced that he knows more about it, or he's an authority, and so then he's like, no, I'm telling you, I know what sells, I know what works, like and they
and that what he's doing is something different. Like I mean, I'm not an expert on cults or anything like that, and I get that people get really offended when you use that term, but I don't know. Pick a different word than cult. Like
so what they call it,
intellectual seduction.
Let me say, so what professional cult people call it is they call it undue influence. And that's a legal term that means you're sort of manipulating someone in a way to get their money, to get their time, to get them to work for you. And it's undue because you're not really giving them, exposing to them what's really going on. You're not exposing that, your videos are going to be used for investor pitches or this or that. And maybe it's disclosed, but it's still undue because I'm your friend or whatever reason it is. There's an undue influence. They also call it, it's an abuse. What's something that makes a real cult is it's an abusive relationship. So this may not be a real cult. A real cult would be like an abusive relationship where
it's a cult of personality.
Yeah, I mean, so if he crosses the line into he's abusing them, I would say lying, gaslighting. There's a level of abuse. That's what makes something a cult. That's what makes something.
Let's lay it out here.
Sorry, go ahead, Tony.
Go ahead. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Because I studied this stuff, but go ahead. What you were going to say about it?
He does lie to them because he's told them lies about me. He's told them lies about Leo, about Ninja, about Kenny. He told them lies. And then that's why they repeat these things. And they say, oh, Tony's so evil. He's harassing developers. He's doing this and that. I'm harassing developers. Yet the developer of Finnegan Fox sat down and had a conversation with me. And we're actually pretty cool. And we occasionally
also,
talk.
the shutting down of the Hans Zippich trying to tell bosses of journalists, and Tommy trying to tell journalists, that these people shouldn't be working or they're not good journalism. That's cult shit.
Yeah, and I mean to take it down, maybe like one notch from actual cult, psychology and terminology. What's just striking to me is that it's an unequal power dynamic, right? Like all of these people, I'll say guys. Well, there's Saggy Mello. So all these people, on one level or another, are video game fans, right? So it's not all that different in my mind than people who are like super fans of a sports team or, rock band or anything like that. And if you are just a fan, you haven't been in that industry. Like you never played professional baseball, but you love baseball your whole life. And you go to a fantasy camp and one of your like childhood baseball heroes is there. Yeah, it would be really easy if they start saying like, oh, you're an accountant? That's really interesting because I'm starting my own business. I'd really like your input on X, Y, and Z. A ton of people are going to like bend over backwards and say, I'll look at all your books for free. Like,
and don't forget all the propaganda.
Yeah. And
another thing,
like that's the thing that to me just has always struck me as like a little distasteful that the people don't seem to appear to know that on some level, I won't say they are being used as people, but they're being used as part of a strategy. And maybe they are totally fine and fully aware and they're jumping in with both feet because, hey, if they make a video about the Amico, it gets 1,000 views, whereas their normal content gets 50. So, maybe it's mutually beneficial, but
that's something that they say about us, but I would go more in the lines of say like what the comment here says, where Amico is a secret society, that they really get secret knowledge, insider knowledge, and privileged knowledge that makes them sort of feel a certain way or feel that their channel has more authority or that they know more than us. And that's an element of undue influence in cults, is to have privileged knowledge.
Yes, and that really
there's levels within it where bro is a little bit higher than DJC, or there's like a gradient level of info.
And it really does bother me. I've said this
And
earlier.
access to the leaders. Another thing is controlling access to the leaders. So bro coming on, I talked with Phil Adam for an hour last night, and like just keeps coming back to that. It's like, yeah, I have more access to leaders than you guys. I'm a little, I'm a little bit higher on this poll than you guys. That's considered another part of undue influence in polls.
Yeah,
I know more war criminals than you.
Yeah,
no Nazi talk.
And they put this, and it puts the person, the YouTube personality, in a weird spot where now they've been entrusted with this information, and now they have to like defend it, even though they can't reveal it. Mm-hmm. And it's all kind of sneaky. I remember DJC was talking about how, you know, at the Boston event or somewhere, they got to see games in the shop that you won't believe the games are coming. Now here's the deal. Did Tommy actually play the games with DJC, or did he show him a thumbnail in the shop that may not lead anywhere? So it's borderline manipulative if it's not already. I don't know if Tommy is aware what he's doing when he's doing it, but it puts him in a very awkward position.
I think that's a really good point. Maybe to give people the benefit of the doubt, maybe Tommy Tallarico has no self-awareness of this whatsoever, and he's just operating in his mind as basically a good salesman and good promoter. And he thinks, hey, I'm being buddy-buddy with some fans. It'll give them a thrill. And, you know, who knows? I don't know. Maybe he's going to give these guys an email at Christmas, and maybe he has some fondness for them. But there's so many signs that it seems like a neutral third party who would have no connection to this, you know, like say somebody's significant other who's not into gaming. I would guess that if they explain that to them, they would say, well, wait, why is this guy, you know, like hanging out with you so much? Like, do you run in any of the same circles? Like, do you have things in common? Like, it just seems strange to me.
And if this was a publicly traded company, this would be borderline like insider information. You know, if stocks was involved or investing was involved, it really does cast a weird shadow over what's going on. And again, I don't know if Tommy realizes he's doing this or not.
Don't forget, this isn't just happening across the internet. They bring this into the real world where they are setting up the events for Amico to come to their town, and they're setting them up at places that, you know, they're contacting Crayola, or they're contacting the owner of the store because it's someone they went to high school with, and they're setting it up at their homes. And it's not just this privilege of an internet thing. It's gone into the physical world as well.
Yeah,
and privilege to play Amico on a level too.
Yeah, Retro Bro and company are the ones setting this stuff up, not Intellivision.
Right, and that brings it to a heavier place for me even.
Yeah, that just does not compute to me whatsoever. Like, if you're not on the payroll, why would you be setting up events? I don't get that.
Like proselytization, basically.
Don't you mean prostitution?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go in a dark direction, but it's just a fascinating component of this whole saga.
And I'll say this. I know it's been ignored for a while, and I'll bring it up again. An investor appeared in their Crayola video, which they used to lure other investors. That, to me, is shady. It is shady, and to this day they haven't admitted it. And
Retro Bro literally called us "quote unquote" Karen for discussing it and calling it out and saying that person's an investor. What the heck, guys? Like, oh, you're a Karen. Like, just weak, you know, closed-minded shit. You know,
that's in the playbook. If you can't talk about it, insult a person. If you can't talk about it, find a reason to discredit them. It's amazing how many times people try to bring up a point, and they, instead of talking about the point, they just discredit them or insult them or ignore them or try to belittle them or tell them that, you know, you don't have any skin in the game. It's not worthy. And
they don't address it's a lot like cults where they just don't address the points people are making. They just attack the person. And could you imagine if we did that? I mean, there were people that did that early on because they had known things about Tallarico that they didn't like, but it quickly moved to just people talking about the plans for the console.
Yeah, it is some of the stuff I see concerns me, and that's where my honestly I do, the retro bros in the world, I do wonder, are they being used and how much, and will Tommy still be there if this thing fails?
And Retro Bros always like smarmy too when he was texting or he was twittering to Tony, just saying like, or other people, I'm glad for your concern. I'm fine. Like, dude, I mean, if people are giving you suggestions, you don't need to be a jerk to them. Just ignore it, really.
Yeah, just say thank you. I'm good, but thanks for caring, or something.
It's gonna bite you in the ass. You're gonna look dumb later when it turns out,
And here's a question, and I don't want to put a list together because that will be taken the wrong way. But how many of these very pro Amico people on YouTube have not had contact with Tommy Tallarico?
Few.
Because it seems like all of them. I talked to him on my phone. I've met him. I've been.
Mr. Moon hasn't, maybe.
I would say 85% of them will describe Tommy Tallarico as their personal friend.
Close personal friend.
There's only
most of them have, because he leaves a comment on their YouTube videos. They get excited, and they have a bit of communication, and that equals friendship.
There's the comments from the people that say, I'm here because of Neil Patel. So there's those people.
That's on the investment.
They're pro Amico. Those people are pro Amico, and they are outspoken, and they don't. That's all they know.
Well, some of you all know that I used to be on that side. Let me tell you, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, he will, if you're on that side and you ask him, he will check out your videos and comment or whatever. But I'll tell you, when he asked to do an interview with me, I thought it was really weirdly timed, since it was after that jackass Retro Bro booted me from Amico After Dark. Yes. So it all just happened together, and but I'm always suspicious of people like that. I'll just tell you that now.
Extra Sanderson's in the stream.
Yeah.
No idea who that is.
I got a comment. Nice to meet you all.
He's a little bit new.
I got a comment, and I'll take it off air then. But I mean, in this last stream, something that I noticed was who are these streams for? You got to think, because they're announcing a price increase and then spinning it like it's good. And these are YouTubers that you would hope that you could trust to be on the consumer side, right? Because they're into games like us.
Yeah, so you would assume that.
But they have this wall, right? So they're like, all right, so we got it. We're going to spin it like paying more for games is good. And then if they're really pro Amico, they put up this wall so then other people can't criticize it. So Amico's never going to backtrack on anything, or Intellivision will never backtrack on anything. And that's
for some of the people, for some of the people, to me, it feels like they're just directly protecting money they invested. Maybe they're trying. I don't know if people can back out of their investments, but that would seem huge, that you want to retain.
Not on Fig, you can't.
Not on Fig, but they're going to do another round, so maybe they're just doing this to keep looking for new investors. As that's really the big Pro Amico podcast. There aren't really a lot of Pro Amico videos. If you look through them, it's mostly our shit. As of the last couple of weeks, so. Yeah. I think they're trying to
buy less games. I have no problem. I'm going to spend the same amount of money. So if they increase the price of games, I'll just buy a couple less games. They're going to get the same amount of money from me. I feel like a lot of consumers are like that. Oh,
yeah. Hey man, who do you think you are? Star Strikers is worth $50.
Yeah,
that's JT Setzer. That's a bargain for $50.
Oh, and also
you should feel privileged to pay that.
Did anyone else notice that? Smash JT was like, oh, you have to pay $700 for a potential get a PS5 at Best Buy, but you can go get an Amico right now. You just show up and get an Amico at a Walmart. I was like, what?
They're on the shelves.
Yeah, they're on the shelves. All right, thanks. I just wanted to comment that, and I'll go off air.
Oh man, you can stay if you want, but if you're gonna go, you gotta go eat some green beans probably. But
I put the green beans down. I'm on the radishes. I told you.
Yeah, I hope it's going well with the wife. She's not kicked you out and thrown too much shit at you lately.
No. That would never happen.
Okay.
She was the one that was filming.
You were just buying too many Wii games for her, but you showed her the receipts and you tell her how much you paid for them. And that worked.
The more the better.
The more you
The more the
paid,
better.
the better you get. All right, man.
The better. Yeah. Cool.
You're
All
welcome to hang out if you want, but you can also slip out.
I'll hang out in the chat.
Right on, man. We love you, Sanderson. Yeah,
See you
Carl, you
later.
don't know.
All right.
You should check him out, Carl. He's a very funny anti-Amico comedian, or Amico critical comedian, you could say. And
I have
he's
not been radicalized yet, but I mean, we'll see what Intellivision puts out.
he's keeping his pre-order. He's keeping his pre-order. He's a good guy. He goes to church and helps the kids at the church, and he wants to bring the Amico to those kids because it's a shitty system. So hopefully they won't want to play it too much, and they'll go play some real games, some air hockey. And
I mean, he could
exactly
go Southern Baptist and tell them if they don't behave and turn the lights around, they're gonna end up with a life full of Amico junk.
I don't know.
I'll be like, do you want to know what the dark side of life is? Just go search Amico on YouTube, sort by most recent, and just
most
yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right,
see you later.
Man.
See ya.
So maybe it's worth saying on record, the church thing just reminded me of this. I think it's probably obvious, but Mike Mullis made a comment about people said some anti-Semitic things, I guess, on his YouTube videos. I mean, that's absurd if anyone's doing that.
Yeah,
I did see,
you guys shouldn't be doing stuff like that if you're out there doing it, but it's just immaturity.
Yeah, and I try not to get into moral grandstanding, but hopefully that's obvious to everyone that that's wrong for about 1,000 reasons.
Like I said,
hopefully that stops.
I'm a guy on here that cusses a lot, says a lot of rude shit, but I don't think anybody should be doing that kind of stuff in the name of Amico. And I'm not trying to excuse it or defend it. I think it's a screwed up thing to do. But I will say that video game consoles in general, especially ones with Care Bears and stuff, they tend to attract immature people. Video games will always have an immature fan base. It's because they're fucking video games, okay?
Yeah,
and a certain group of criminals.
Yeah, there'll always be criminals and 11-year-olds and fucking people on drugs. It's video games. Go to an arcade.
That's true. It's YouTube. People are going to say ridiculous things. And
it's a children's video game console thing on YouTube. Somebody came on here earlier and put porno on to try to fuck with us. It's what it is,
Yeah, or you can play. This is why I don't really get into that kind of stuff. But I think if you go on any multiplayer for a first-person shooter, it's basically a bunch of 13-year-olds just saying racial slurs.
I'll say that used to be worse than it is, and my experience with Overwatch has not been that.
I call it squeakers.
Tommy, I brought it up. Atomic.
It's still, I think, important just to do what we did, for 5 minutes and say that's not okay. And
we did it 3 times on this stream. That's how much we all think so. Go ahead, Ninja.
No, that's good.
I was just going to say that we've done it a million times, and
I mean that's how much
really
we
don't
all
have
think
to say
about
it
it
anymore.
We all literally independently said that. So
if you said it tonight, I apologize. I didn't hear.
No, I'm just saying that you shouldn't have to say it every single time.
It should be said, and it's telling that we all brought it up independently. So yeah.
In the previous,
I will say that I'm not a huge fan of that guy's communication style. I'll just say that.
No.
He has plenty to criticize aside from personal characteristics like race, ethnicity, physical characteristics, all that kind of stuff. There is room to criticize the guy's actions and
very grumpy
ideas.
Dude. He's very grumpy.
He strikes me as a get off my lawn kind of guy.
Yeah, he's very personally invested in the Amico. Whatever is going on, he takes it very personally.
Don't forget, he once said that Tommy was like a brother to him.
Yeah.
And not in a comedic way.
I mean,
he's saying that because they had such a bond, and
for all I know, that guy is a pillar of his community or whatever, and he seems to have a group of people that he supports. That's all fine, but he does strike me as very prickly and abrasive.
I'll say we all have our immature side and our immature moments, especially myself, some more than others. But
you're at least focused on having fun.
Anyway, I'm saying his immaturity is spun in a way that feels negative towards people, and so there you go. Maybe his mature side is very positive. My mature side is really negative, so it's all different.
So
which one you mean?
I'll say two things if I can real quick. One,
go for it.
You know, I'll just say flat out, I'll just say the anti-Semitism, totally wrong, even if he's using it in the wrong way for defense. If it's happening, it's wrong. There's no defending it.
We agree.
Second of all, Potion Sword Run is here. You made that video of the Retro Bro stuff too quickly, dude. I was going to totally put some ... dots emoji so I could hear you say that. I was going to like actually type out ... and just do like smile emoji, winky face emoji, and just to hear you say it.
I would have kept on going
on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
yes,
ahead.
I needed to hear that. So good to have you on, Potion Sword.
Thank you.
And you might be excommunicated now from those who saw you as a fence rider or willing to talk to you.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see. You know, tomorrow's a brand new day. You know, I'm always hopeful, so I don't know.
So, I mean, Potion, have you done any voice acting, or is that just a hobby?
No, it's just a spur of the moment thing. I just thought, hey, let me just try some stuff, and that's what happened.
It was very high quality, very high quality.
I mean, you definitely sound like a mad scientist, that's for sure.
No, I mean, I was always into well, I went to school, like college, I guess, for cinematic arts and technology, so like film and post production, all that stuff. So I've always been into like you know, movies and stuff. So
hey, Potion, I bet you,
natural.
Original Seed, I bet you if we talked long enough, we would know some of the same people.
Probably, man.
I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school for that, but like a lot of dudes I knew in the music scene did. So I bet we know people that know people.
Yeah. About Mike Mullis tonight. I mean, for him being so upset with me, I think he was pretty tame, to tell you the truth. You know, he didn't like cuss. He didn't get too upset. He was just wrong. But I mean, he's okay. He could be wrong. It's all right. I don't hold it against him.
He's just a salty dude.
I mean,
he called me a jackass
a bit, but I mean, he was just. I mean, when you think about it though, like he wasn't too rude to me. He was just.
He called me and Tony the Jackass Brigade.
See, like stuff like that, he didn't cross the line with me that way, you know. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't have any grudges against him. He's just he needs to relax a little, man. That's all.
Well,
I'm enjoying the Jackass Brigade.
You're not one of the Amico hunters. You are just, you know, an observer.
Well, I don't know, because today I was demoted. They took away my ranch on Retro Bros channel, so I don't know.
I did notice that. I did.
Yeah.
Did that happen midstream?
It did happen midstream.
Yeah.
They got mad at you, man. They got mad at you.
I was asking simple questions, man.
He kicked you out for a bit.
Dude, dude, I was on Amico After Dark, and I made a few comments, so they kicked me out and basically kept. And he told me, well, it's because I want to make my channel professional. He didn't make his channel professional. Nothing was changed.
Yeah, he had a bunch of people that on there that, you know, like he can't call anybody else trolls. He can't say anybody else's chat is full of this and full of that, because his chat has people on there that, you know, are known in the community to dox people and troll people. So, you know, he has no moral ground anymore.
Isn't Relic Gamer a mod in that?
Yeah.
Channel?
I mean, it is what it is. I don't, you know, Relic Gamer, we all
He
know
and his 3 alt accounts.
Yeah.
We're all mods.
Tommy, who was that guy that sounded like Jermaine Clement on your other stream?
Who's Jermaine Clement?
Oh, the guy from Flight of the Conchords from New Zealand.
Oh, that's Daushin Nubin.
Yeah, how many alternate accounts did he have? Like 12?
About 6, I think. He's Yoko Ono, Daushin Nubin, the Talarico Estates and Holdings, Talarico Dashcam footage. He was a very funny guy. Very silly.
Yeah, I got a few chuckles from that.
Very interestingly funny guy.
Super deadpan humor.
Yoko Ono, the girl who killed the Beatles, he chose that name.
It's like an egg yolk, YOLK, and then like O, and then like O.
Okay.
It's really weird. Yeah, but he's just a weird guy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail there.
So I need to head off. So I want to thank you having me on. I wanted want to say one thing. I'll say one thing, and then you say your thing, and then I'll go and Sagan can come on if she wants.
No, that's all right.
But dude, she's cool. She talks. I appreciate her. And by the way, I don't have anything against. Like, I'm cool with all the people on the other side, even if they're not cool with me. You know, I'm all about.
She does
talking.
contribute to the reason that we don't have a Titanfall 3, but you know, and she's a draw. And she cares too much about drama.
All right, hold on. You were going to say something.
Dennis, she has the floor.
But I was just going to say the last thing about the stream is I thought it was weird when they had open Q&A, just how they gave Phil. There's all these questions about the Amico, and they just seemed to give him a lot of softballs. You know, they didn't really give him any hard questions, any real tough questions.
Well, they looked lost when they had the Q&A.
That maybe they weren't expecting
Mike
it.
Mullis, the journalist, would have 20 questions, but it was really awkward.
So
Carl,
anyways,
stop slurping.
Yeah, I need to go. So say your thing, Tommy, and I'll head on out.
Oh, I was just gonna say that if anyone's not following No Swear Gamer, you need to be following him. It's a fantastic channel. He's got the Amico news, and he's just an entertaining guy. I love cussing. Sometimes I can't control it, and then I just cuss, and it just happens. But the fact that I really respect this guy, No Swear Gamers, that's got to tell you something. I think it's an awesome channel. Everybody should be following Phil.
Thanks, dude. Your shield check is in the mail. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
It's a white knight shield check.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks, guys. It's been real.
Right on.
See you later.
Saggy, I just don't want Saggy on because I don't want it to become a gang up session. To me, this is like a party. My stream is like a party.
You don't want a gangbanger?
Yeah, I don't
like Saggy. I'll elbow Saggy.
I'm not afraid to have. I'm not afraid to have pro Amico people on, but I don't know. We're just gonna end up.
She doesn't seem to do as many like mental gymnastics as some of them.
I'm just joking.
I think she occasionally calls it pretty straight.
Yeah, Saggy's my homegirl, so you guys won't be ganging up on her.
Saggy is a person.
I won't gang up on her if you want to invite her.
She's not trying to get in, so.
But I'm cool either way. I'm just chilling.
Yeah. Maybe it's the alt because she's not knocking on the door to get in here.
Yeah,
it's an alt because that's her real name, isn't it? I'm a blocked user. I think that he was doxing.
Might be probably. It's Relic.
I think that was her real name. All right, sorry guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've participated in quite a few of the Pro Amico streams, and like I enjoyed talking games with most of those guys. Like they're all, to No Swear Gamer's point. Yeah, like this cult stuff and the mental gymnastics, like they all lose me. Like every single one of them has sort of like a tipping point, and I'm just scratching my head like, what is the motivation for this? But
the thing about the cult thing, I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's just we're all in a cult when it comes to like mainstream media. Like people just regurgitate CNN no matter what, and what CNN is regurgitating is just the same thing, talking points that CIA or anybody else gives them. So it's like already ingrained in our society to believe stuff like that, and they think that's facts when it's actually just talking points. So I mean, I think that's what we're just ingrained to believe things, and so when reasonable people look at them like, "Hey, why are you just repeating stuff that this person said? Like, what's going on?" They don't see it that way because they're accustomed to it.
Yeah. Also, when someone's saying they're your friend, then you, like they said, you want to defend your friend. You want to do something that's your homie, and you also become they've sort of, I think it's deeper than like CNN. It's like when your church says something, because they've really involved their personality into this thing, and they really identified themselves with this thing on a higher level. They think that they're part of the company.
To me, a friend is someone who you tell them, if you need to call me at any point during the night, you call me and tell me and talk to me if anything's wrong. That's to me what a friend is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's different levels of friendship. So like, I believe that, like if, I don't know, Retro Bro and DJC are talking about each other, I'm sure they consider each other friends at this point because they've spent a huge amount of time together. So maybe they're just really what's the word I'm looking for? Like open-minded, non-cynical people, and they just view Tommy Tallarico as just another member of the group. It just
one of the guys.
Yeah, like it just seems like most people would view it a little differently from the outside.
I think that they buy into the concept that he's like the ultimate gamer. It's like the Billy Mitchell thing. Like he's got them convinced, like, no, I'm the guy. Like I'm the ultimate gamer. Like it's all about me. I have the Guinness World Record, and they're like, I know the one. I know Michael Jordan. Like I know the fucking ultimate guy, and I think they're buying into that.
Atomic Age gamer sound like me 3 months ago. I'm just saying. I was saying the same thing. You know, maybe these are good people, and they just are good-willed and they want the best for their friends, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but they also have money dipped into it.
I'm still not convinced that's not it, but that's what I was saying that 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been fully radicalized yet, I guess.
I'm not there either, but I'm just saying.
Leo and Cell Vision, and then you'll get full radicalization.
So let's, maybe this is normal for everybody in Germany, but it's pretty amazing to me that he can do all of that off the cuff, and English is obviously his second language. Like he's more fluid than I would be if I were going to put together a 30-minute video.
He's from Brazil. Yeah, he might know several languages. He's a Brazilian guy living in Germany.
Yeah, he could be like Christoph Waltz.
He's a musician. So
if he's Brazilian, he probably knows Portuguese.
He's obviously a smart dude. Leo's obviously a smart dude. They call him a moron.
If he's a musician, he's probably smoking weed every day.
No, Paul,
I don't get that vibe from him.
Hold on. He's not my kind of musician. He's like a guy who reads music and like
he's like a classical.
So he's not the Janis Joplin type.
No, he's not like me. Like he's not a blues guitar guy like me. He's like Tommy, a guy that
Carl thinks you wear tie-dye.
Me?
Hey, I love 60s music, so it's not an insult.
I'm like the leather jacket stud one, but no. But he's an intelligent musician. I mean, he's a classical musician, and he understands. I think he considers himself more a musician than Tallarico. I would consider myself less than that, of course, but maybe I'm more of a competent live one.
I mean, just because you have a guitar doesn't, and I'm not saying it's about you, but more about Tommy Tallarico, doesn't mean he's a musician.
And being a musician is nothing. Charles Manson was a musician, so like, who gives a shit? And he had a record. Yeah, I mean, Charles Manson wrote songs for the Beach Boys. It doesn't mean shit. So
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how he was able to legitimize that the Beatles were talking to him and telling him to end the world and all that shit. That's how he was able to get over with the hippies.
Ah, that's interesting.
And there's like a direct correlation to that story with our friend Tommy being able to write the Earthworm Jim music.
Well, I would say it's that when you are a musician, it affords you. I mean, maybe not like Leo or whatever, but when you're a performing musician, you get in front of people and shit. I will tell you right now, it affords you a level of being able to avoid scrutiny, of people listening to you, of giving you a chance. Like the anti-Amico side is always like, yeah, well, he's kind of creative and funny. Like they always give me more of a chance than I deserve. It's a magic power, and I think Tallarico has known that for a long time and just tries to use it to its fullest. I try to use it to make you guys laugh or whatever, but other people, I see it sometimes as a slight superpower socially, and you see people that exploit it in different ways.
Like almost, never mind.
Charles Manson's a real good example. R. Kelly,
No, let's not go there either. But Tommy is taking a piss on a bunch of people who act like children, so maybe there is some correlation, but
I don't know, guys.
Oh, Tommy.
He's not the CEO anymore. I mean, what does it change? Does it change anything for the fans, for us? He's not the CEO. He stepped down officially. What does that do for us?
We won't really know.
Does that help him to go to another round of funding?
No.
Oh, there's no way he'll be able to do the funding representation. He's not the CEO anymore.
Right. So does that help them? Does that hinder them?
I think it hinders him to some degree.
Yeah.
If you want to be super cynical, I think this is basically allowing, what's his name? Who's the new CEO again? Phil
Adam.
Phil Adam. It's allowing Phil Adam to be the bad cop
and clean house.
Yeah, absolutely. So they could go from 50 employees down to 20. Be lean and mean, and then make pitches to private venture capital people who might be willing to take a chance. That's my thought.
I think that they blackmailed the shit out of Tommy Tallarico.
It was Nick Richards that said he made the comparison that Tommy is like P.T. Barnum. And he said, who do you want? Of course, who do you want as your CEO? Of course you want someone like Tommy. He's like P.T. Barnum. And it's just like, isn't P.T. Barnum like kind of thought of as a sort of exploitive guy? And they talk about
I think he said there's something to the effect of there's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah, I heard that he would get baby goats and like tie the horns together so they'd fuse and then tell people it was a unicorn. And it's just, I mean, I never saw the movie. I'm sure there's cooler things or more interesting or more professional things about P.T. Barnum, but it's just, I don't know how you think that's great for selling a family console. I think the circuses were put down pretty hard by family people in the time that they were happening. It was like, you don't want your kid to run away and go to the circus. It's a saying,
Well, the circus is the reason we have a humane society and the laws regarding animal cruelty, as I recall hearing from one of us.
Yeah, I mean, so what I'm saying is, so you're right. So they're known for bad treatment of animals. P.T. Barnum did the Human Freak shows. So it's like, why do you think that's a good type of person to run your thing if you think he's P.T. Barnum?
It isn't.
I mean, there's probably more that I don't understand, but I've always thought that was a weird one when Nick Richards said that. So it does lend to me better that they, for future investments, that they don't have him as CEO, but it's less funny for us.
Yeah, I was going to say this, but, I think that we got to have a slogan. The best part of waking up is Tommy Tallarico's new fuck up.
That was a good one, man.
I wonder if they think it's going to take away attention from Tommy now that he's not CEO. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's an interesting.
Like they're like, this guy's the head guy, so everybody's not going to focus on Tommy no more. It's going to be just.
People love to take jabs at Tommy Tallarico.
They seem to say that they seem to be thinking that it was a really good thing, that it was really positive, and so maybe they don't want people to pay attention to Tommy because he's fucking up.
I mean, I'm guessing Phil Adam is not going to go on forums and get into like, a 30-page flame war with people with 5-paragraph walls of text. So, like that's a small incremental improvement. I'll definitely.
And I think it helps distance themselves because if you go to a new investor and they find that, they're like, but that guy, we took him off. That was just our earliest,
Yeah, he's a sentimental, artistic type.
Yeah,
he's just working with the developers.
He's just really passionate guy, and he's behind the scenes now because he just helped to get off the ground because we needed to make a lot of noise early on.
I get it. Artists are going to be artists. I get it.
Yeah, I maybe they are. It's a way that they can sort of distance themselves from him when new people are looking at it. Maybe because a lot of our shitting on him, a lot of our videos, a lot of our shitting on Intellivision is shitting on him. But lately, it's been more about the company since he left.
The thing about Tommy that we don't understand is that he's Steve Jobs, all right? He's a creative type, and
you can call him Tom. Neil Patel called him Tom.
Oh boy!
He just started calling him Tom.
I heard Kevin O'Leary say quite a few things about Steve Jobs and that he was quite the character.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard a lot of things about Steven Tyler too, but that's not the kind of singer I want to be.
Yeah.
So
you want to be like Snoop Dogg, who has his own line of marijuana.
I want to be like Snoop Dogg, that's got dozens of kids, like with all the kinds of women.
He can afford them.
Yeah, I don't want to like collect children.
Oh, Snoop Dogg, I have a whole village.
He does. He got a lot of little Calvins around and around.
Yeah, I'm like, go give me my weed.
Yeah. If you hang out around Southern California long enough, you'll meet his family members. It's good. Oh, goodness. He remember when he wanted to be Snoop Dogg wanted to be like one of his son's football coach, so he had to pretend he was gonna stop smoking weed. And he had to like make these news stories like, I'm done smoking weed, I'm never gonna do it again. Like, yeah, okay.
I know it's his public persona and everything, but I would like to be in that frame of mind where just I'm not bothered by anything, and I just seem to walk around with like a real comfortable and manageable level of amusement at everything that happens in the world. Like,
have you ever tried Valium?
I have, oddly enough, when I was getting my wisdom teeth out.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
I would be all about it.
No, don't drug abuse, guys.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not allowed.
Cataracts, yeah. No, don't mess with them. Don't play with drugs. Only do what your doctor says, because drugs, you don't want to die. I knew people that died, so I'm serious. Don't play with them. But
yeah.
And now, hold on there. The world history is full of doctors doing awful things to their patients.
Yeah.
Are we talking about 19th century psychology stuff like Return to Oz and
There you go. That's
now I'm not allowed to Nazi talk, so I can't talk about what.
It might be a good idea to sidestep that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Wait, I got something lighthearted on the subject of artistic personalities. This is real short. You guys all know Norm Macdonald, right?
Oh yeah,
recently passed. So I came across a Tom Green interview with Norm Macdonald.
Oh yeah.
Bob Dylan. Maybe people have seen this. And he's saying, for like 10 minutes, he's hyping up how much of an artist Bob Dylan is. He wants to lay down that concept. Like, Bob Dylan, he's an artist. You would say he's an artist, right, Tom? Tom says, oh, yeah, absolutely. And he plays the guitar and he sings. And he also plays the harmonica. So that's two instruments at once. And you say, man, what an artistic genius he is. But if you put a couple of cymbals between his knees, you would say this guy is a fucking jackass. And I thought, I was like, yeah, you're 100% right. But it takes more talent to do all three.
There's a guy that does that, I think, or he does 3 or 4 things. He got a drum, maybe Bob Log 3. If you guys want to see, he's a jackass, and people think he's a jackass. I think, yeah, he's not famous.
Why isn't the one-man band? Why isn't that considered a higher form of artistic expression? I think somebody needs to really like own that genre in 2022.
Well, remember, is it Mary Poppins when Dick Van Dyke had the whole fucking one-man band thing?
I actually thought that was the best part of the whole movie.
I mean, I can't play any instruments. I would be really proud of myself if I could pull off the one-man band.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people don't realize it because people always talk shit on DJs, but a lot of times DJs are running like 3 or 4 or 5 things at once and putting them all together, and it's
I mean, just doing like beat matching is a skill.
That's what I'm saying. They're just doing it like all over the place sometimes. Some of them don't do shit, but
let me tell you, Tommy, my dad is a musician, and he doesn't like DJs that much.
Yeah. I don't either, but I look at it, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I just want to play the one thing. It's hard enough to sing and play guitar at the same time.
By the way, it was the real Saggy that you blocked earlier. She just sent me
sorry.
On Twitter.
What would she say in Sky Jackson? Is her name Sky Jackson? Why would she say Sky Jackson?
Because, sorry, I'm coughing. Because they claim that her name is Sky in real life, which is not. It's not her real name.
I thought it might be, and I didn't want to be
that's what I just told her right now. Yeah, we don't like doctors here.
Yeah.
So
I thought Sky was her stripper name.
Okay.
Supposedly, yeah. So she just runs with it. That's all it is.
Well,
but anyways,
I don't know. I don't think we're going to go too much longer, so I don't want to get into the saggy vortex.
But that was it.
Yeah. And I think anyone who does music, whatever kind you do, you can't judge other people that do music because it's not the same. If it's not the same genre, and it might not, even if it is the same genre, there's so much variations in style that something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not about talent. If it was about talent, we would all only listen to Beethoven.
Sure.
It's about, it's about style. And as a punk rocker, I tell you, it's about style. So whatever, DJs, whatever it is. But video games is different. Video games is is it function or not? It can be artistic, but to a degree that it has to really work. Not every song has to dance, but every video game has to control on some, basic level.
And every game developer has to make that important decision. How am I going to fuck over blind people?
Yeah, the accessibility stuff is an interesting issue. It's funny to bring it back to music for a second. I kind of see, maybe this is a forced analogy, but if you're gonna have a typical pop rock band, you usually can only get away with one frontman, right? I think there've been a couple bands that might have 2 singers that don't play instruments, but for the most part, it's one person that's the singer. So then you need 4 or 5 other guys or people that can play instruments, right? So I see that as a little bit of a parallel to Intellivision right now, in the sense that, I'm sure Tommy is a legit musician, but he was the front man.
Right.
I don't think they had people in place who, could play guitar, could play rhythm guitar, who was a solid drummer and a bass player. The core people you would need to run a company like this, you need rock solid hardware engineers and software developers. And I just don't know where these people were.
Right. I'm thinking of Van Halen. The reason Van Halen was able to keep going with a singer change is because the guitar player was so well known and fantastic, and he had his brother there on drums or whatever, and they were just real well known as a band. And I think they were a band before they had the singer. So it definitely changes it up, and they lost some fans. But it definitely, I look at Tallarico as a mascot almost. Like Ozzy Osbourne is to his band. He is the thing on some level. And Phil Adam is oh yeah, some people knows the guitar players that played with Ozzy, and most people don't. But
so Tommy, you consider him do you think the same for the video games live? Because he's kind of running around air guitaring. He's kind of the hype man. While the real show is the orchestra and everyone else.
My opinion is that's just him growing up with the Steven Tyler over his shoulder, and he just always told himself he was going to do that too, so he has to do it. But I don't know. I think that's his ego fulfillment, but I don't know. It is fun, especially he's a guy that doesn't drink or do drugs. When you're on stage in front of everyone, it is a drug. It is a feeling.
100%.
And I get it, but he's freebasing cocaine is if he's not really playing the guitar, and he's just setting up whole tours so he can run around stage. So I don't know. But
he doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't gamble. He's a living personification of the prohibition.
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
He's a sassy guy. He's an edgy guy. He's got a. I think he's kind of funny. I think his sense of humor is funny because he's rude, and I think rude humor is funny. But he's not likable, and I think part of being a rock star is being likable. So I don't know. That's my opinion. Well, whatever.
It's a good opinion.
Yeah. So to drag that analogy absolutely to death, you were saying before, if Tommy is out of the limelight, does that kill the interest in this, both for the supporters and the people who are looking in, because it's fun to kind of see all the twists and turns of this path.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to be a little bit I don't know, when Axl Rose got vocal cord polyps and Guns N' Roses was done? Because, Axl Rose had a strong personality. He was identifiable. He got that distinctive voice. If he's out of the picture, I'm sure there were some, good musicians, but, were people really going for Axl? So do you think now that Tommy has receded that the interest will die down?
I'm gonna say no, and the reason why is because Tommy is not gonna shut up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's more like when Elvis went to the army and like everyone still just keeps following the dude and they just keep looking at it, but like see like Guns N' Roses is different because Slash was able to like be in other bands and do other shit, and everyone just kept looking at Slash and started ignoring Axl Rose. I don't think anyone's gonna look at Phil Adam like they did look at Slash. I think that it's gonna be they're gonna be watching Elvis go to the army. They're gonna see what is he doing in the army? What's his hair look like? What's going on with him now? Like yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid analogy. Yeah, I'll get behind that. It's Elvis in the army.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the army. He's gonna start branching out, doing a few motion pictures.
Well, yeah, when Elvis was in the army, they toured his car and they sent his car around, and people paid money to go look at his car. Like it's I think it's about Tallarico. It's the Tallarico Amico.
So I've got one more question. I think you're leaning towards wrapping up, so I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
Do you think you mentioned being a performer, being on stage has a biochemical reaction? I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I mean, even if you've just like done karaoke once and got a good response from a happy crowd, like that's real, right?
Even doing a live stream, playing guitar and having people watch or whatever. Even what we're doing now, like having people look at you does something. Yeah, definitely.
I grew up doing all types of like theater, and I was in crappy bands and everything. So I agree 1,000% what you're saying. So I guess my question is, we were all kind of scratching our heads when Tommy for a long time was going on these YouTube shows where it would get like 50 views, 100 views, 200 views. Do you think that there was like any kind of meaningful strategy? Was it just, okay, I want to throw up enough stuff so that even if no one's really watching it, like investors or somebody, when they search for it, there's positive stuff that like somebody can see what I did? Or do you think it was mostly just because he wanted that kind of ego gratification? Maybe both.
So I would say both. It's like a cigarette for a drug addict. It's just another little fix. But I would also say that I think they were trying to cultivate praise so that they would have sets of videos that they could show the investors. So there was this whole trying to get, it's like network level marketing. They were trying to get people talking about it on the web positively so they could cut that up and then show it to more people, like an interest Ponzi kind of thing.
And there's no greater feeling than when a guy like that takes the time to comment in your video comment section.
For certain people,
for like the the YouTubers, sure, yeah, that validation I think would get somebody on their side.
Man, which is what a night, man. I mean, I put the celebration music on because I think if they raise the price at all, they're fucked. It just draws a direct comparison to Nintendo. Nintendo's got all kind of shit up their sleeve. They're holding it back because that Mario movie's coming, and then they're gonna fucking dump because the Mario theme park's coming. And I'm sure PlayStation and Xbox buying up new stuff. Everyone's gearing up, and consoles are gonna become more available and cheaper.
I actually see Microsoft going following ADV and buying too many game studios and going bankrupt because of it.
Yeah,
Microsoft going bankrupt? That is a bold statement.
Yeah,
that's a legitimate hot take.
Well,
hot take.
We learned about the FTB, I believe it's called, which is that they didn't pay the $800 of taxes at Intellivision Amico. And our buddy Generation X Gamer, who's a businessman, see, I'm not a businessman. And although he said he's not giving financial advice, he did say that was a very fucking bad move. And that makes you look really fucking bad to investors. And it really could spell the end for this company. I know Phil Adam is trying to keep it positive, but people have wondered if that means fucking bankruptcy's on the way, and people have wondered if Tallarico becoming CCO is so that he could put that on his resume for his next job, because people are probably not going to want to get him as a CEO for his next job.
But they'll see that he was a CEO, and they're going to look at what he did.
But he's going to say, I was a CEO and a CO. So when he's going to be applying for the job of a CCO, perhaps, and he wants more CCO stuff on his resume. So I don't. True. He may not be trying to be a CEO, so he may get pulled in as a consultant for creative or some other thing where they said, yeah, this guy was a fucking shitty CEO, but like he had a lot of creative ideas and he had a lot of spin. And when he kept saying, wouldn't that be something? It's not the worst person to have like as a creative consultant who's just like throwing out wild ideas and like maybe they could have a free game on their birthday, and you go, okay, well that's an idea, like let's put it on the board. He's not the boss, but he's a creative consultant.
Okay, you are right about that. He is really creative.
Yeah,
he's really creative. He's good at coming up with ideas, because I did like a lot of the ideas they came up with.
Yeah. And so like if you just needed an idea, man. He wasn't in charge, he wasn't implementing anything, and there was a startup making phone games or something, and he's just going like, well, why don't we give him a birthday thing, or why don't we any of his weird ideas.
You're describing a child.
Yeah, he's not in charge, so maybe he's trying to become the CCO so that he can spin that into his next thing. Like maybe they're trying to abandon ship. It's my speculation, but it lends towards them looking at the future of this thing. The other thing I wanted to say is that people have said, or I'm not sure if it's true or not, people have speculated that perhaps Phil Adam was not only in charge at Interplay or did a lot at Interplay, but that he was in charge of selling. He was in charge of selling Interplay off to other people. So breaking the company, a hatchet man. So he was in charge of, this is speculation. I don't know if this is true or not. Everything on this podcast could be bullshit, but people have said that he was the one going in, cutting the company up and selling every asset piece by piece.
Was he the one responsible for Fallout Brotherhood of Steel?
I'm not sure. It could be, though. So like that would be a CEO level thing to be doing, and people would want to be talking to the CEO, and Tommy's would not be interested in doing that, probably brokering deals to other companies to sell his babies. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you said is reasonable. I mean, I know it doesn't get like big laughs or anything, but I'm sure Tommy Tallarico has marketable talents and skills, and I'm sure that if you were in a meeting with him, you would be fairly impressed. Maybe a little skeptical, when he makes grandiose claims, but like, it's silly when people say, "Oh, this guy, is a complete buffoon. He has like no ability whatsoever." What's closer to the truth, and in my opinion, like funnier, is that he's just in over his head, and he projects this air of grandiosity that's comical given the realities of the situations. So I'm sure he's going to land on his feet, and he's going to have more Ferraris in his future. Like maybe he can't get the like Corinthian leather or something on the next one, but he's going to be A-okay.
So it's like Julie Ehrman, the person in charge of Ouya, Julie Ehrman, the woman is in my icon, Tommy Amico picture. She went on to become, I think, CEO or some very important thing at Playboy. And it's like, it's the thing where they say you can sell like freezers to Eskimos, you can sell ice to Inuits or whatever. Like you're going to need someone to sell these old porn magazines to people that have like internet. It's like, so you're going to sell them this video game system to people that already have better video game systems. And that's what German did. So there's a lot of things that's applicable to. And if they see he was able to spin it to like a reasonable level, and there's some asset in that for companies that are selling things that you don't need, as well as lifestyle brands, really. I mean, that's how Playboy became a lifestyle brand, right? So maybe Amico could be a lifestyle brand.
They talked a lot about partnerships. I think that's something that they should explore. Playboy partnership. That's family friendly, right?
Well, I've said a dozen times that like they should have made it an old man console. Like it should be Leisure Suit Larry.
Just lean into that.
Yeah, lean into that hard, like fuck, like go against the PC grain, and it's like it's all the things that they got rid of in the mid 2000s, the guy game, the booth phase. Like you just say, fuck, like, this is my old man console. Fuck off. This is for dad.
That's not a bad idea. Like
and
raunchy, dirty, but like good, clean, fun kind of thing.
And there's a couple like real smart games for like smart guys, like the original Intellivision was, and there's a couple raunchy, like kind of and then the lag won't matter because you got these, they're question and answer games, or it's like fucking poker. It's like you go after all that stuff.
Or
one of Sierra's first game was Porn Quest or Porn Adventure or something like that.
And how many more people would talk about it and chuckle, but it would be like a positive chuckle? Like how many of us would just be like, even the people, the critics would look a lot stupider if that was your product, in my opinion.
If they're going to do a porn game, they need to have one called poker.
Little play on word action there.
Hooker, I hardly know her.
I don't get it.
I don't think it. I don't mean porn. I just mean that kind of bikini level stuff and like that kind of tongue in cheek, sort of harkening back to that.
Sell, man.
I mean, an Al Bundy console.
You're doing a tribute to something from 1979, and it's got wood grain on it. So, like, yeah, man, like Leisure Suit Larry. Like,
aren't there tons of stories about the Atari development folks that were like coked out of their minds half the time?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking the Bay Area, Silicon Valley in the 70s. That's not the only company, dude. I mean, me and Potion know a lot of people that are older that were all into that shit.
Oh, I wasn't saying that as a dig. Like, I just mean that was part of the time.
No, I wasn't even dissing it or saying thinking you were, but yeah, it was just part of everything here, I think.
I'm just saying, my uncle's a postman, and my aunt's she works for like big old ag company, and they partake in the powder regularly.
Okay,
and
my uncle,
all their friends do too, and they're like all executives, you know what I mean, or like government workers. So I'm just saying,
living a high life, especially in the early 80s, late 70s.
My uncle was a cop, and he got kicked out of the cops for stealing coke out of the evidence room, and they just let him retire and go to the sheriff's. So, yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
Maybe it isn't charisma after all.
There's a lot going on,
So maybe that's why they have 50 employees, They're just having fun all the time.
Well, you saw those parties they have at that they put videos.
Yeah, the Friday afternoon pizza.
Not anymore.
Pizza jams.
Not anymore.
Oh yeah, not with Phil Adams. No, yeah, he's cutting off that credit card. Yeah.
No, you know what'd be funny, Potion? They'll have a live stream with Tommy and Phil, and they'll go around and start firing people and think it's a funny a funny event.
Oh,
that'd be hilarious.
I'll be the cringy '90s guy. If you want a great example of just absolutely heartless hatchet man firings, there's a great episode of King of the Hill where, remember Dale Gribble, the weird conspiracy theory guy?
Oh, yeah, he's great.
He gets a job as like a corporate enforcer where all he does is fire people because, like, he's basically a sociopath and he's like the best at it in the world.
Enjoys it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're losing him. Robot voice. We lost him. King of the Hill is the bomb, though.
It's coming back.
Oh.
Why?
What, King of the Hill? It's coming back on.
Yeah,
on
why?
There. Why not? It's fun.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, I love that show. I think it's underrated. The people that don't watch it a lot don't understand it because you really need to kind of understand the intricacies of every character. It's not really surface humor. Like I think people that don't watch it don't understand that like Peggy's one of the fucking funniest characters on there.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. But if you don't watch it and pay attention, we'll go right by you.
Yeah, I mean the early stuff was a little bit more kind of like easy caricature, but I agree 1,000%. Like any good show, they really went in depth with a lot of the characers. And
Peggy's a Tommy Tallarico. Like she just thinks she's gonna do everything right, and it's just she's got it all lined up.
She actually is speaking Spanish, like in a courtroom or something in Mexico, and
she knows exactly what she's doing. Yeah, She's got it all. She's got it all under control.
But you're right. She's a good example of someone who like believes her own BS. You know,
bullshit.
Peggy Hill might say she understands Spanish, but her Spanish accent is horrible.
But she doesn't. Peggy doesn't.
It's
she doesn't
muy
realize.
excelente.
Peggy thinks that she's doing it right, and so
I was going to make some jokes here. That I wish Tony was around.
You can make
the housekeeper Mexican. He said or something.
Right
like that?
here. You can make him. It's okay. I'll give you a.
Well, I'm kind of half Mexican, so.
Oh, I'm also kind of half Mexican and half Salvadorian.
But what was he? He called a housekeeper Mexican or something, didn't he? And the other guy got mad about that.
He said, "I don't speak house. No hablo.
No hablo housekeeper.
There
yeah.
you go, housekeeper. Yeah.
So it's like Peggy Hill.
I mean, I've always been sensitive to that because you and you're Latino and you don't speak Spanish, you just don't try to. So, like, Peggy's just always been hilarious, man.
I'll tell you my favorite.
Everything's Peggy.
I'll tell you my favorite Peggy moment is that when she started doing translating for Hank's Beer Company, and he makes her drink the bad beer because he knew that she knew about the secret.
Well, yeah, that's actually I remember that. Like, she was kind of drinking the Kool-Aid because she was working for the company. So she didn't want
Well,
to
no,
believe
what it was the company was accidentally put soap in the beer, so it was making people sick. Peggy knew about this. She didn't tell Hank. So he found out about it. So, he tricks her into drinking the beer.
Yeah,
and so she gets the diarrhea.
It's like the
diarrhea.
Pride can sometimes be a sin that really hurts yourself more than anyone, and it's because you're doing it for yourself. So it's really strange sometimes.
Like Tommy. Tallarico.
That's what I mean. That's I would say that Peggy is like an unsuccessful version of Tommy, but she's successful with her family life, so she just wasn't as focused as on other things. She's a good mom and she's there for her husband, but Tallarico, who knows about his personal life?
I do. He has a giant Fifth Element doll.
Yeah, he's got.
Did you not see my? Did you not see my Pee Wee Herman video I made?
He seems to live like Michael Jackson without the drugs.
And the little boys.
Or kids around. But he's got the toys.
So that means he's also building
point,
roller coasters in his backyard.
Do you think the people at Intellivision, Tommy, everybody else, do you think that in like their heart of hearts, they really believe that these games are awesome, this console's just gonna like knock it out of the park? Or do you think it's more like?
I think that they don't. I think that they don't play games on other systems, and they're super hopeful. I think that they don't understand what made Wii work, and they don't really think too much about it. So I think that they're hopeful.
Not all.
Cyrus believes in all his heart that the Amico will be great.
The people actually.
I don't mean the fans. I mean the people actually working there.
I don't know.
I think some of them might like the.
I don't think. I mean, there's a reason that they're not programming games like at a high level because I think they're either amateur a little bit or they're a little bit outdated in what they're doing. There's a reason that they're not making the AAA games, but it's also a really good job for them. And they get paid really well and better than at other places.
That's all I was gonna say.
But yeah, so like there's that. So that they're going to.
I don't like my job right now, but I work there because it's a good paycheck.
I'm saying I think they want it to work because they're getting more than they would at other places, and this is like I said, they're maybe not skilled. Well, they're not skilled enough to get that much maybe at other places.
Yeah, I did a video about this because not the developers, but the actual people in the office. And if you look around, when they did the tour video, a lot of them are just kids, like out of school. You can tell they're just straight out of school. So it's like their beginner job. And then
like people like Phil Adam haven't been doing it, and Tommy haven't been doing it for a long fucking time, really.
That's just an easy paycheck for those guys, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Adam seems like he's like semi-retired.
There's people that are like kind of out of season. They're kind of like they're a little bit too old game.
And that's not a dig on his age. So like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he works 80 hours a week or something, but like, it just seems like, you know, I just sort of got that vibe that like he kind of came off the bench for like, you know, to help out with this project.
It's out of a lot of shit they say is out of touch. They talk about the hardcore gamers. They talk about.
He
Well,
definitely tells
like
a lot of old stories. Sorry.
Yeah, he talks about he has it sort of in his mind space. A lot of people have called 2006 to maybe 2007, where it's like he imagines the game space as something that it isn't. He'll say, you know, like that doesn't look like a phone game. That has 3D graphics. Like what the fuck? Like it's kind of out of touch, and it seems like everyone's either brand new or out of touch over there. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at everybody that works there, but I think that it's a better opportunity than they're getting at other places, so they want it to work.
Well, a lot of them are just doing it part-time, like the old guys. And I think it was in the I can't remember where I read it. I think it was with the fundraising. I can't remember where it was, but they had a breakdown of how much people are working, and some of those older guys where it showed that they're only putting in 5 hours a week.
I mean,
so
I think that's
not really.
That rings true to me.
I think it had to do with the Fig Republic fundraising. I could be wrong, where they had a breakdown of where the money was being allocated and showing the executive stuff. And I think Tommy also is on record that he's putting in like 5 or 10 hours a week. Like it's really small.
They may come in for one meeting where they all put down all their big ideas and then they let other people work on it. I think that's not uncommon. I think that's not uncommon for the industry, where like a lot of people work a little bit, and
it's
a
super
lot of
uncommon for startups, though.
Okay, I don't know.
That's a good point. Like
startups usually put in a crap load of sweat equity. That's what they call it. You know, just busting your ass, and not what they've done is completely backwards. Usually, you have a small team.
Phil Adam implied today that a lot of them put their own money into this thing too.
Implied, but we don't know.
Well, he said we have, we've got a lot to lose personally, financially. I don't remember the quote, but he kind of laid it out that people work there.
And it's possible.
Fucked into this thing too. So
yeah, I think you make a really good point, Ninja Kitty, that maybe that, when they talk about having 50 people working there, that could easily be kind of subject to interpretation. Like maybe half these people are just part-time kind of consultants. Because
I did a breakdown on one of my videos, like when they did the lunch tour, and because he introduces a bunch of people, not a bunch of people, he introduces people in the actual team that are doing work, developing the back end and whatnot.
Right.
It was like in that one office, it was like 10 to 15, I think only. It's really small, and if you look around, the desks are all empty. Like they're not clearly no one's been working out of them, so it is a skeleton. That's why the joke was that the Alvarado guy was doing absolutely everything, because whenever they show it, he's the only one actually working when they go to the office.
They're always gonna hide behind COVID with all of this shit, that they're not there that much or people aren't there around. They're always gonna hide behind that excuse. But
and the other thing is they always like on LinkedIn and stuff. It shows like I can't remember how many people, like 8, executives or something, like 8 or 10 executives, like an insane amount. For a startup company, which usually should have 1 or 2.
Didn't he mention they have 5 C-level officers?
Well, it's on their webpage if you look, and they're apparently making 6 figures. And then they had the job postings, and that was the other alarming thing, is they're trying to get technical people, and the pay is really low for that area. It might be good if it was in Utah or somewhere else where cost of living is small, that you can attract more people. But we're like in California, offering 60,000 is like. That's like nothing.
No,
they were going to offer like what
for a tech
like
job?
you said 40, 60,000 for like I don't think it was an engineer or a developer, but it was at least like a tester. And I figured
so have a nice
they have offices.
Yeah.
Oh, see you, Carl. We love you, man. They have offices in San Francisco. To pay somebody that little would be a slap in the face, really. I mean,
well, I can't. Maybe it was in my video or the stream, but I found that some girl posted videos, I think on either TikTok or Instagram or something, and I did a little bit of research, just like Googled it, and she had 0 experience, never worked in IT, and she was happy that they gave her first job, and she had like a fairly serious job, like it was like the security end I'm like,
No,
that's
definitely.
Oh, wow.
crazy.
That was for Intellivision?
That's for Intellivision, because she posted a video like working. It's like from fall time, I think, or summer, with her like having a beer or something at work. And
Is
it
she
had,
the
like, her
one
name
that?
and everything?
Is she the one that didn't put a password on the dev portal?
Probably.
Good lord. I don't know,
That's
man.
crazy.
You got a lot of. There's a lot of hopeful people in that scene of working there, working on it, hiring people. There's a lot of like hope and good faith. I think a lot of them read The Secret. Maybe there's a lot of power of positive thinking going on, but
the Kool-Aid.
I don't know.
What was that company that sold shoes? Was it Zappos? I remember
Sure.
reading like all sorts of weird articles about that, like the group mentality or philosophy of that company.
I've heard. I know people that have allegedly. This is just a pretend story, but I know people that went to a KFC rally and they said it's like a fucking cult for corporate rally for KFC. So I think those things exist all over the place.
KFC, the chicken restaurant.
Yeah,
Really?
They went to a corporate rally for it, and everybody was like preaching crazy shit.
What?
Allegedly, don't sue me, KFC, but
Best Buy's like that too.
Yeah, there's companies like that where people say it's just wacky when they get in there.
Yeah, I think like some people from what I remember, this was like 10 years ago, but like some people at Zappos, I think loved it. Like it was like basically like you're joining a sorority or something, and like they felt like you were like instantly friends with everybody at work.
Oh yeah,
like
I mean,
instantly like.
Hey, there's people that love Scientology and love the Moonies, and they just love it. Get more people to join. They have no problem with it. So I mean, yeah, it happens all the time.
And apparently they got away with paying below average wages because people were like so into the social stuff. So I guess if it works, but
I mean,
like,
they
it also
literally
gave them a weird reputation.
You walk into meetings and they tell you you're changing the world, and that was part of that. They told the customers. Intellivision tried to tell the customers they're going to change the world. Have you guys ever heard of this thing? It was called Oaxis.
No, what's that?
The guy Slopes Game Room did a thing about it a couple weeks ago, and it was a TV. It was like a TV network, like Netflix, okay? And it was kind of like Amico, where it was kind of all about this one guy, and he used to be a cartoonist, so he used to work on TV. He made, I think, the Fairly Odd Parents. I can't remember. He made some cartoonists. He made some real big cartoons, and he's like Tallarico. He's like one of these guys you wouldn't know unless you knew about it. And the whole thing about Oaxis was it was gonna have like family friendly only. So you would eat nothing that wasn't family friendly, all family friendly content, from fucking news to everything, right? And so you say even news, like, yeah, we're not gonna talk about anything fucked up on the news. Okay, well, that's weird. But and so a lot of people jumped into it, and he got like tons of fucking money on Kickstarter. I don't think it was in the millions. It wasn't enough. It was like funny because it wasn't really enough to like do what he wanted to do. But in the end, what happened was he didn't tell them that it was gonna be like a heavily Christian thing, and that people kind of were saying, well, what's wrong with PBS? Like, we got PBS, we got Sesame Street, and then he never really explained to them that he didn't like that they were like pro LGBT on those channels. So he was kind of making this whole network about it, but it was bigger than that, where it just the whole thing was kind of too big for its britches, and he had too many big ideas. And I think that's what's happening here, is that he thinks he's going to change the world with this video game console, but that's just not how the world works, you know?
So to bring it back to chicken, this network you're talking about was like the Chick-fil-A of that industry?
It was like if you found out that Amico was like secretly super Christian, and that like Tommy was going to meetings where he was like, we need Christianity in all aspects of culture, religious, economic, entertainment, political, like, and so they had meetings of this guy saying that stuff. And so it was just like, then people would kind of, so like with Tallarico, we're always saying, you know, when's it going to come out, or asking different questions. They would just hammer this guy with, is your network going to be LGBT friendly? And he would just like never answer it. So then it just came around. But it's just, even if he didn't have those problems, this guy didn't really have plans for his network. It was all just like, as long as I think about it positively and pray, it'll work out, because like the Lord is sending me on a mission.
What was that
But-
called? I'm kind of curious to look into the back.
Axis. And if you want, everyone wants to see the video, you're gonna look up Slope's game room. It's interesting because Slope has kind of been pro Amico throughout this. He hasn't really slammed Amico. He's been basically calling him a shill. So it's interesting that he's got a lot of these kick scammer videos. And
that's what makes it worse, Tommy. It's because I watch all his videos before even the Amico. So he's well aware of I'll call it a scam, even if it is a scam.
I wonder
shady stuff.
Maybe he's deep undercover.
People have suspected. People have suspected that he's deep undercover, that he's trying to get access to Tallarico because he wants to make a bigger, the 3-hour special movie of Kick Scammer. Another thing I was going to say about the new CEO Phil Adam is that we've seen there's dozens of videos of Tommy Tallarico saying, we're not some yahoos that are making a Kickstarter. And so if they do go to Kickstarter, there's so much shit where Tallarico says they're not crowdfunding, and it's just a video of him saying that it may be best to the video for the crowdfunding video is Phil Adam,
Yeah.
Because or else we're just gonna play them back to back.
Oh, we still are, but it'll be less effective.
We still are, but it'll be less impactful. Has a smarmy jackass saying, I'm not some Yahoo. You went over Ninja Kitty, but it's the confidence. The con in comment is for confidence. It's not for convict. And the confidence level that he pitched to the Neil Patel thing about how they were experts in the industry is so opposite of what you hear now from the pro Amico people, which is they're just a startup. They're just, it's a new company. Give them a chance. It was we are experts in the industry. I'm not just some Yahoo that Kickstarter.
It's the Avengers, remember?
Yeah, it's he's making big decisions. We got the pros, man. And that's the sad thing. I don't think a lot of the Amico fans watched the Neil Patel video, which is fucked up and sad.
Well, I hope they watch my video, because I think in my video I pointed out that when he went through each person, like Phil Adam and the Tetris guy and all those things, I'm like, that guy last was relevant 30 years ago. Then 30 years ago, none of those guys have done shit for the longest time. So it's so
I might roll through that video again. I've got a clean version of it. I think other people should go through it again, even if you do it a 1 year later kind of thing or something like that, because it's just, that's a fucking video and a half, man. The Neil Patel thing's crazy.
It has some really good clips you can clip out of it, with the lonely kid, and the controller's baffling to use, and there's an Xbox controller at $100. I'm like,
yeah, he goes, I've done the research. Here's how much console games make. Now here's how much mobile games make. It's so much more money. I've looked at the reason. The reason? There's too many buttons on the controller. It's no, motherfucker, you've got the phone in your pocket and you got the phone anyway, because the phone does everything. The phone buys you pizza. So what the fuck are you talking about? It ain't because there's too many buttons on the fucking controller. In fact, people buy buttons to put on their phones. They fucking snap controllers are on their phones with buttons on them all the time. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, he contradicts himself right at that point. It's really funny to watch.
Right away. That's fucking right away. It's fucking right away.
So this is sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, sorry, just for a sec. He talks about the cell phone market. Then 2 sentences later, he shits on it. Right after it. That's what makes the video hilarious. It's so funny.
Yeah. And they neglect the fact that the fucking Switch is a fucking big cell phone. It's just a big fucking touch screen. It's just a giant fucking cell phone, you idiots. How are you going to compete with it by your thing that's absolutely not a cell phone?
Go ahead,
this is a nitpick, but I'm just curious to know if I'm alone in this thinking. So, the Amico has some platformer action games, right? Where normally you would be in Astro Smash or Finnegan Fox to jump or to shoot. You would be hammering away at the X button or the A button or whatever with your thumb, right? That's what most people would do. And what I've heard from a few people on the Pro Amico side is, oh, well, if you don't like, to rapidly tap on the touchscreen as the action button, I'm sure they're going to be able to map, the action to the shoulder triggers. I guess, there are some games where you use a shoulder to shoot, but it just seems particularly for a platformer, for jumping, to me that would feel like tremendously unsatisfying and awkward.
No. Tommy said that it feels better because you can tap it faster because you don't have to wait for the button to spring back up. So you can actually tap it.
Oh, I see.
Well, Tommy said
superior. Yeah.
Okay, well, you've convinced me.
Tommy also said you don't want to move with your left hand and jump with your right hand. That will, mess your brain up. If you try to move the character with your left hand and jump with your right hand, that it just messes with your mind. So
yeah, I don't know. Like
so he had to put the jump on the shoulder button on purpose because you got to move with one hand and jump with the same hand. That's why, video game joysticks always have a big button on top, so you can do everything with one hand. Except that's not a fucking thing. That's a crane game.
Yeah, like I know you can get like a Game Boy Advanced emulator or like a PlayStation emulator and play Symphony of the Night on your cell phone. I think you can even just do it legitimately as a Android game now.
Right.
And like you can do it and it's probably okay. Like it's tolerable, but like the whole point is like to what you said earlier, the advantage of that is, okay, I don't have to carry around a separate portable game console. If I want a quick fix of, playing like a level of Symphony of the Night or a game like that, I can if I'm on the Metro or something.
I mean, and more than that, you can literally buy for like $30 to $100 to varying degrees of you can buy all these little buttons and strap on things and things that are like a switch where they clamp to the side of your
the Bluetooth stuff. Yeah, no, that's true.
There's ones that plug into the little port in the USB port and stuff. So like you don't, when you're playing Amico, you don't really have another option. Even when you're playing Switch, you can pick.
Well, don't forget they're selling those stick-on buttons. Remember that they created, which they did not create.
Yeah. With Switch, you can literally plug like almost any third-party USB controller into the thing, and it just starts working. But they confirmed, they confirmed that wasn't going to be the case with the Amico. So at least I think they confirmed that. So
they confirmed it.
That's so weirdly stubborn. Because
it's weird. Yeah, you have more control options on your phone.
Yeah, even if you like, and I get it. Like there are people who really, really enjoy like driving a 1982 like Hyundai or something because it's quirky and weird and different. Like there's always going to be some tiny community that likes offbeat stuff. Like I'm part of some of that. I get it. Like that's fine. But most people would like to have, like you said, an option on top of the quirky weird thing, like especially when you have a bunch of stuff lying around that you could easily just plug in. And for 80% of the games, which seem suited to traditional controllers, then you could do that. Like it's just weird, like if you bought the Amico, you've already bought it. You've already bought those two controllers. Like they've already won. Why would they not throw you a bone?
They want you to buy two more controllers.
Yeah, like, but
at $80, $90 a piece.
I guess. But like, if you believe that, these controllers for cornhole, like these are wonderful. I love them. These are the best ever. Like, why not throw that person a bone if they say, you know what, for like Astro Smash, I really wish I had a D-pad and a thumb button. Like it just seems mean-spirited or something.
Well, it protects sort of their identity, I guess.
Yeah,
it's probably how Rab would try to spin it, but
I think they're hoping that they
dumb.
will make games to use the controller, and so if they provide like a other option, then they'll stop making games for it.
But Potion, they from the onset said you can use your phone as a controller. So it's fucking backwards to think anything else that they shouldn't be able to use regular controllers.
I think the phone is more similar to the Amico controller than just a traditional controller would be because it still has like motion. I guess it has motions, right? It has motions. It has touch screen.
Partial motion.
Yeah,
motion.
I mean,
I guess that's part of it is that you won't have the touch screen.
Yeah, that's true.
I
the
think
phone's
they're just
like
hoping for the games to come, but the games ain't coming, So it's like,
what if you use your phone? What if you use your phone with the strap-on buttons and that goes into Amico? And then you got the picture, you got the buttons. Maybe if they made like a $15, $20 thing that you strap onto your phone, they could fix this, but you still got the lag, so I don't know.
It would be interesting if when people buy it, that they can just plug in like a generic USB controller and it works.
So
like if sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I find it kind of interesting on Switch. There used to be people that made you have to root your phone to do it, because you used to be able to do it that way. You could use your phone as a Switch controller, but Nintendo turned it off because they didn't want people cheating and fucking around and stuff. But it was unofficial. But the technology exists that if Nintendo wanted to implement it and put it out an official app, boom, it's just there. So it's not like this is some other special technology they have built into the Amico. It's just an idea that anyone could do. I feel the same thing with the eShop. Yes, Nintendo Store is not curated, but if they wanted to hire, somebody to curate it and create a special family channel on there, it wouldn't be difficult. It might cost them like $100,000. And that's it.
That's it.
Well, you made it to 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a great stream, guys. I could probably talk all night with you. I'm happy. I think it's good that Tallarico's out for everybody. It may be less funny in the future. It may be more funny, but I think that the FTB violation is something we gotta keep an eye on. Just see how that goes for them. Any last words, boys?
Nothing.
No?
It's just been a pleasure to meet you guys. And
Take that
I'm taking that hit. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
I wish you guys a farewell, and that's it.
All right,
Potion,
guys.
are you gonna make more cartoons?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make. I think I got an idea tonight, so I'm probably gonna start cracking.
Nice.
Hey,
I
awesome.
vote for more cartoons.
And my last thing, again, please don't harass, please don't dox these people. Don't bother them about their religions or their races. We think that's lame. So just if you do that, you wouldn't be our friend. So if you're anti-Semitic, you're not my friend. I got family members that are Jewish. So if you're doxing people, you're not my friend, because I got family members that have been harassed by people. So everyone just have a good Amico night. Anyone else anything else to say?
No, it's been fun.
Right on. Peace, guys. Have a good one. Have an Amico night.
Peace.
Peace, meatbags.